Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to a special episode of Hollywood After Dark, episode number 74. Today, of course, is September 10th, 2021. Today, we're going to be talking about predominantly one story and one story only, and that is maybe the biggest live stream to ever happen to pop culture YouTube. Alex Jones and the Fandom Menace. All sorts of stuff went down. Got some great clips to share with you, and of course, some hilarious laughs to be had. All that and more here now. Hollywood After Dark. Let's effing go. Hey everyone, how you guys doing? Welcome to the program tonight. I know it's a little bit earlier than usual, but I just wanted to get this thing done and get this thing out of the way and talk about it because it was a hell of a day, especially if you happen to kind of live and operate in this YouTube space. The Fandom Menace, the people who are predominantly known as being the worst of the worst in regards to pop culture commentary. I'm talking about disinformation, absolute character assassinations, bigotry, prejudice nature, discrimination, all of these things that they claim to hate, they absolutely fundamentally espouse all the time. But they today had the one person on there that they probably maybe shouldn't have had, to be fair, because it's going to bring a lot of stuff down on their head, especially because you're not really able to argue with this person in any conceivable fashion. And that, of course, is Alex Jones. He popped up today for a special midday stream, and oh boy, it was a doozy. So much so now that people out there are asking the question, will this be the end of the Fandom Menace on YouTube? Will they all get destroyed for hosting this man who is probably the most censored man on the entertainment media space, or just the media space? But we're going to talk about that here in a second. First, I do want to give a quick shout out to my channel members. You guys are fantastic. You guys keep the channel going. If you want to get your name on this list with all these awesome, excellent, amazing people, be sure to join the channel. It is right there in the video description. You guys can find that little button. This month for the giveaway, we are going to be doing Drunken Master 2. So if you want to get an awesome Jackie Chan movie, just become a member, drop a super chat, or head over to the Patreon, patreon.com/MattJarbo. And that, of course, is my shilling for the episode. I like to just get it out of the way quick because I don't want you guys inundated with a whole bunch of nonsense or a 30-minute sermon. But that being said, why don't we dive in to my panel of guests for tonight? We have got RJ. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, doing pretty all right. It's been a crazy day in the past couple hours, but hey, I'm ready to talk about some nonsense, I suppose.
Oh, it's a lot of nonsense. And then joining us for the first time tonight is Forced Adversity. How you doing, man?
Hey, man. How's it going? Good.
It's going pretty good. Good to finally connect with you. I get you on here. I know it's kind of last minute, but I appreciate you coming by.
No problem. Glad to be here.
Thank you. And then also is Annie. Annie, are you there? I know you had to step out for a second. Still stepped out. Okay, when they get back, they'll let me know. We'll bring them in. But in the meantime, today is very much a very interesting situation, because what I feel we got was true, absolute, utter, no question about it, mask off from the Fandom Menace. And this is something they've been ducking for a long time. But I feel in the last couple weeks, predominantly the last 2 weeks or so, they have
it's been nonstop bomb after bomb after bomb. The Shang-Chi thing, especially, and now this adding on top to it. It's like the nice crescendo to the entire thing, you know?
Yeah. No, it really is. It really is. I was actually really surprised at how it's been escalating, because there's a lot of escalation there. And Dane, you cover this kind of stuff, especially in the Comicsgate front. Yeah. And I'm not really into the Comicsgate stuff. I find I give them only the credit from they saw a problem and they have decided to create their own cottage industry as a way to get around that problem. That doesn't mean that their opinions are good, because they're generally not. They're pretty bad people in some cases, but you can at least respect them for sticking to that part of their own ideology. Whereas the Fandom Menace does nothing of the sort. Right. They don't create anything. They don't build anything. All they do is sit around and tear things down for profit, which is, in their own defense, would be, oh, well, yeah, that's the YouTube game. We're just playing the game, guys. It's all we are, just people, humble, merchants with opinions, sort of thing. Even though we all know that's generally not the case.
Yeah, I mean, Comicsgate operates pretty much the same way. There's a lot of overlap, actually. And yeah, I mean, with Comicsgate, they have the appearance of offering a product that they make. But if you check out a lot of their crowdfunded projects, they're like very rarely, do people actually get the books that they're promised. There's several of them that are just like years behind, despite them having raised hundreds of thousands of dollars and stuff. So it's also
there is some of that. Yeah, there is some of that as well. Like I think the stealing solo thing comes to mind. There's been like, didn't EVS even have a couple delayed books or something? Or am I thinking of somebody else?
No, he has for sure. And then Richard Meyer, I think I just did a video on him last month where
that's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
He started a 5th project despite not fulfilling the other 4 like at all really, and he's raised like $1 million easy. So
yeah, someone who's not very well versed in Comicsgate and crowdfunding, and kind of all reminds me of the stories you're describing of remember that game Mighty Number 9?
Oh,
kind of reminds me of that a little bit.
Oh, good old Mighty Number 9. That was I remember that from back in the day, and that went nowhere. Well, to be fair, the game did itself come out.
Fake and very much under delivering on the promises though.
Yeah, it did. It was very fake, and it very much
it made all the gamers cry like a nerd on prom night.
Oh, it did. I remember I covered it myself a little bit back in the day, and I covered a few other things back in the day with it. And I am very I always kind of laughed because I thought the whole thing was pretty stupid. But then it came out and it was terrible, and no one I knew liked it, and I just never bothered to get my hands on it. But so anyway, when we talk about these movements of people. We generally have I've been covering them a little bit more here on the channel. I didn't start off wanting to do that, but I have this thing where fake news and bullshit really ends up it gets under my skin. And I think that's a good thing, because it's you got to start calling some of these people out. And I know I made a stink last week when I compared them all to Joseph McCarthy, or at least McCarthyism, and they still have not been able to get that out of their heads, because they referred to me multiple times today on this live stream, but they referred to me as the Uber Eats delivery driver.
Yeah, I noticed that. They never wanted to say you by name, but they kept saying the Uber Eats man, or the Uber driver, or the delivery boy, or whatever else they said. A lot of vague terminology.
I know. I was laughing so hard at that. I'm it's just, are you just afraid to say it? Are you just afraid?
Well, on the bright side, I don't remember hearing very much Boulder stuff. So now we've upgraded from Boulder to Uber. So
I make a lot more money with Uber than I do with Boulders. That is to be fair. People like to go give me crap on the driving. They're like, you just deliver people's food. I'm like, yeah, during a pandemic when I prop in, usually about $30 an hour on average.
Right.
So,
you're actually putting in some work and providing a service to people.
Yeah. I just thought it was pretty funny. Because I'm just I go in there and, I walk into a restaurant, I grab someone's bag of food, I drive it to their house. Last night I brought over chicken wings and they're like, oh, the tip is under the mat. Cool. It was $20.
Yeah. I did Uber Eats for a while, and and Lyft and stuff, man.
It's just it's not bad. Yeah, it's not bad. It's actually a pretty fun little gig. And then I supplement the rest of my income by doing live streams. So you guys who help out support the channel, I really appreciate that. But of course, I do want to get back to movie talk, because there was a lot that happened today, which we'll probably talk about at the end of the night. But when it comes to this Alex Jones situation, I want to start off by playing a clip. This is something my good friend Vadim Newquist put together. He's on YouTube under Creationist Cat. He was under Creationist Cat. Now he's under Hey It's Vadim. He is a lefty YouTube content creator, very much hates bullshit, very much is not a fan of the quartering. And this to him was like Christmas coming early. He had no idea that this was happening. I sent him a DM and I'm like, are you watching this? And he's like, what are you talking about? And I sent him the link and he's all like, oh, I'm recording it right now. And then within an hour, really, he put this together, and it just gives you a great overview of just what the fuck happened.
Good. I think you're good, Alex. Can you hear us?
Yes, I'm a big fan of the show. Really appreciate you having me on.
Wow. Hell yeah. Love to see you, man. We would expect nothing more. We would expect nothing more. Alex, I have been a fan of yours for a long, long time. If anything, it was entertaining. I always found it entertaining.
Exactly. It's not so entertaining now that it all came true.
No.
It was supposed to be fiction.
And sometimes I am wrong. So many things have been staged. So many things have been fake. Actually staging a terror attack or blowing up Building 7. The deep state has now abandoned the whole country. It's a globalist group running America into the ground on purpose. And once you know that, it all makes sense. I've been watching you guys for at least about 2 years.
Oh, thanks, man. That blows my mind.
They're crazed. They're going to rule. You're going to go to a FEMA camp, but they are going to be running the FEMA camp, which of course isn't true. That's Joseph Mengele level. If you don't do what we want medically with an experimental shot that's already killed a bunch of people, we are going to kill you. Well, let me explain my philosophy and how I think, because I'm a big history buffer. I've forgotten more history than most history professors know. The drinking and things make you forget things.
quartering nose.
They had a treaty that by 2020 they launched the world government, begin depopulation. There's Tucker Carlson's on board. I woke him up. He's told me that personally. I woke up Joe Rogan. He's told me that personally. He's totally awake now. He used to think I was crazy.
I'll be honest. I thought you were crazy a long time ago until I started paying attention.
When the WikiLeaks came out, and it was like Democrats saying, we're going to have the little kids in the hot tub for your enjoyment. $60,000 of hot dogs are being delivered. We're going to do the Aleister Crowley rituals out there at the farmhouse. I mean, they're saying all this. That was in the WikiLeaks. So then ABC News, CNN, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times all reported on a pizza place and said it was all happening there. Then we cover it and say, is it true? Then they turn it around and say, we're the ones that created it. And the Democrats and liberals, who are now these cultists of big pharma, are worshiping it and covering up and censoring local news when the doctor says a 39-year-old mother dies after she gets one of these vaccines, liquefied her organs. So I think everybody either needs to stop this and defeat the New World Order. If not, billions will be killed by 2030. We will be dead. The globalists are setting you up for a societal collapse. They're going to kill you. And almost everyone watching this in 9 years will be dead. None of this is bullshit, guys. This is all real.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So here's the thing with that. That is a sizzle reel of a fair amount of it. Not all of it, but a fair amount of it. And I saw that like right when Vadim posted it, because he sent it back to me. And I was laughing my ass off because I'm like, holy fucking shit. There's no way that is real. There is no way that actually happened. And that, but then I went back and
faces speak volumes, by the way.
Oh yeah. No, I went back and I actually, before the stream was over, because I wanted to have content for this stream, I went and I started recording the stream from when Jones appeared to when he was gone. And I made it about halfway through. And holy crap. It's like, I'll play for you guys. I got a couple long clips are mostly what I want to focus on. And that has a lot to do with the fact that this is where I think like the meat and potatoes of where shit's going to get weird is where it's going to be at. And my, and McLeod here says, my IQ has been lowered before Jones even opened his mouth. Also, holy shit, force adversity, woohoo. So you got a fan here. You got a fan here, man.
Got one.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. That's great. I don't have many more than that, so welcome to the party, pal. It's fantastic. No, but this is the thing. So what I want to start off with here is like the first part of it, right? Talking about the vaccine stuff, because I just want you again to listen to what the other guys say, and you can tell the angle that they want to take, and you can tell the ideas that they're going to espouse. And again, this is uncut. This isn't like edited, like Vadim edited. I just took this as the clip. We can react to the clip because it is wow. Let's see here. All right, let's play that. Oh, let me play that. This is. Oh, right. No, this is the wrong clip. Sorry. This is the right clip.
You have the official speak where you're until 5 months ago, you were not allowed to say it may have come out of Wuhan. Here's the funding. Peter Daszak, Fauci saying, I want gain of function conferences he put on. Documents were already out. Now the Intercept got 900 pages where he says, I want to merge these 5 viruses. I want it to infect humans. It's a coronavirus. I mean, it's all there now. And so now it's okay to say it came out of a lab. So that received info has changed. Here's Pelosi in April of this year. She came out and said, we cannot require someone to be vaccinated. That's just not what we can do under the Constitution. Now, here, they haven't expunged this yet. This is the CDC website, still there today. Other myths and facts. Can CDC mandate that I get a COVID-19 vaccine? No, that's unconstitutional. But don't worry, it'll be removed now because he's come out and said that. But it gets worse. White House official doesn't rule out requiring COVID-19 vaccines or tests for domestic flights. Isn't that interesting? And then, but it gets worse. The White House is exempt from the shots, and so are postal workers. 600,000 postal workers, they're exempt. So you talk about discrimination, folks. This is it. Here it is. This is out of Newsweek.
So you notice how they're framing the argument against the government?
Right.
Like I don't quite know all that information. I'm trying to look to see whether or not, like, I'm trying to fact check it a little bit here. But it goes to show you, like, he's already trying to establish, like, it's the us versus them mentality. It's the us versus them mindset. And considering the fact that, like, you know, the 8 other dudes on this panel that aren't Alex Jones all push themselves into the victim category as often as they possibly can. They're eating this shit up. They're just eating this shit up, even though I'm sure it is as skewed as it could possibly be.
Members of Congress and their staff are exempt from Biden's vaccine mandate.
Huh. That's interesting.
Wow. Wait, how convenient.
Yeah. So we're talking Animal Farm now.
Yeah,
Yes.
unbelievable.
We heard a very specific number yesterday. 80 million Americans were vilified for wanting to protect their own freedoms, and that was done by a leader of the free world, which is I've never thought I'd see that, but it happened.
That's such a weird angle to take on it, in my opinion. 80 million people are denied. No, a lot. The 80 million is he's trying to associate that with like Trump voters.
Yeah. Again, though, notice how they're all playing. It's like, oh yeah, that is weird, isn't it? They're all like egging it on in a way, right? They're egging it on. They're saying they're giving validity to these points.
Yeah, I know. It's absolutely crazy here. Let's see here. I saw someone say that Sweden's had no problems and they've had no lockdowns, but they've also only got a population of about 10 million and most of it's outside. So, you know, again, 330 million people, I think, here in the country after the 2020 census that I worked on. It's a little bit different the way people are handling it.
Were people trying to frame this as like this was going to be a conversation where we talk about pop culture and
we're going to get to the pop culture part next, because they start off, he goes off on this real quick and he just kind of catches everyone off guard, but no one here actually wants to disagree with them. Even at some point later on in the stream, I just happened to tune in randomly, and Gary's like, I'm going to disagree with Alex Jones, although from what I can gather during this entire thing, he never once disagreed with Alex Jones and was basically ball washing him the entire time. So, and then also when Jones said that we can sit there and say that it came out of a lab, I just looked that up. Again, it's not conclusive that it came out of a lab. So still, it's not 100% that it did. We don't know that. But again, this is the whole mindset here. It's always creating these false narratives, these kind of like false areas of doubt that they can push to get people to go, well, maybe.
Yeah. You throw out a non-falsifiable claim, and you know what's somebody going to do? You can't falsify it. But he's saying it so loud and fast that, you know what I mean? Nobody can, even if they wanted to, which I doubt they would.
Yeah. Well, and that's his debate and we lost RJ for a second. But that's his debate method, is that he ends up going in and kind of steamrolling you with information and not giving you a chance to really kind of properly respond. The thing is, though, the 8 other dipshits on the screen, they're not even going to bother to respond. They're going to agree with it. They're going to take it in, all while trying to kind of hide behind the idea of, oh, no, we're questioning things. Considering the fact that they don't question anything. They just say everything is terrible, it's horrible, and it's woke. And if you've ever watched Nerdrotic's review of Shang-Chi, as RJ has so eloquently pointed out, it was based in bullshit.
A lot of, again, intellectual dishonesty, a lot of lies, a lot of misinformation. Again, pushing narratives that are so blatantly wrong, complaining about the role of the sister and that Shang-Chi himself wasn't in the movie very much and all this and that. Like, stuff, if you watch the movie yourself, you could so easily point out and say, nope, that's not true. Like, it got so bad, I literally said in the review, or in my video, I was like, he must have been on his phone the entire time, not paying attention, because I don't know how you miss simple details that they verbally explain to you over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Like, it's very hard to miss some of the stuff.
It really is. These guys are just, again, you can tell it's all dishonest, and we, even the other night, we were going through Ryan's box office thing, and we just kept saying disingenuous over and over and over again, because every argument he made was fundamentally that. But let's keep going.
Love him or hate him, we are in 1984 now. We are in freaking Animal Farm. And, like Alex, I pulled my kid out of public school. It was difficult, but we had to do it. I used to live in San Francisco.
But why? He doesn't live in San Francisco anymore. You know what I mean? Like, he lives in North County, San Diego, as far as I understand. And the reason why I say that is I used to live in San Diego County. So I understand a lot of the school departments there, like, again, there's a lot of Republicans in San Diego County. So I'm trying to understand here what exactly
he's trying to get brownie points with Alex is the whole thing. It's like, Alex, look at what a great job I did. I took my kid out of public school. It's just about getting the brownie points. That's all.
Yeah. Nihilus here says everything Gary says is 100% bullshit. That is true. Yeah, that's very true. I mean, even later on in the stream after Alex left, they were still coping about the Shang-Chi box office and still trying to run that third lowest bullshit. So they just keep using the same talking points. Gary, like pulling your kid out of public school in San Diego is really not that like big of a deal. It's really not. A lot of parents pull their kids out all the time, but explain why. If you're going to talk to Alex, explain why.
I think it's trying to feed into that whole that narrative that like California is just so, you know, beyond liberal and woke now that
it's not. But
yeah, I know. But I mean, you know, there's a lot of people moving from California to Texas and whatnot, and that all feeds the narrative.
I mean, I get why, but a lot of businesses are also moving there, which is another factor, you know. Right. I mean, never mind the fact that, and this is the thing I'm going to laugh at the most, and this is a bit of an off-topic thing. Bob Chapek, the person who they're actually at this point championing, whatever the word is, you know, for the Disney war with Kevin Feige, that at this point I can't quite even determine if it exists or not. But he is moving the entire parks department from Anaheim to Orlando. So he's moving, I don't know how many thousands of people that work in that department all the way to the other side of the country. And that's that's a massive injection of a bunch of liberals into the Florida voting pool. So, you know, and
really, I didn't know about that.
Yeah. And that's what I've been saying forever is like, you know, if this was as big of a deal as all this shit they try to make it out to be, like, why isn't Soros just moving people, like paying to fund people to go to these states, to go to these districts, to go to these areas, you know, flooding it with blue. And then they all vote, they overturn, they turn it from, they flip it, and then they get the hell out. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's a lot of this is nonsense because it's just all made up. It's just make believe as a way to just live in that echo chamber and have a lot of cognitive, what's the word I want to use here? Damn it. A lot of bias is the word I want to use. I forgot the word. I hate when I do that, but let's keep going.
Cisco, we were in the San Francisco school system, so I was seeing this shit, you know, a year ago, 2 years ago, that Antifa teacher, there's 1,000 more like that guy in public schools, and it's just
Are you
creeping
kidding?
into
There's
everything.
Probably 10,000 in California and probably 5,000 in Texas and 5,000 in, you know, Minnesota. I mean, they're freaking everywhere, and they're all these weird, crazy authoritarians dreaming. In fact, that one teacher saying he wants revolution, kill the cops, burn everything down in California, he had an Ingsoc tattoo on his arm in 1984 quotes. Like
Well, I want you to listen to what Gary says, right? And I don't know if it's like, if it was accidental or if it's a Freudian slip, but just give it a listen to what Gary says.
Reads a dystopic novel and he thinks it's an owner's manual.
It's instructions.
He thinks they're good ideas.
They are. And
did you guys catch that?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Right. Three-fourths white Garrett saying, you know, oh, those are good ideas. Like, they are a good idea.
Oh, Jesus.
Gary,
I don't know if that's a Freudian slip. He doesn't really go back on it.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't,
you know,
because again, he doesn't understand.
What I think it is he's just responding in the positive. Like, no matter what's being said, he's going to respond.
Oh, that's true.
You know
No, that's a good point. Very good point. Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on. Jess here says moving to Florida, Orlando will not help since the vast majority of the districts are red. However, the voting for governor is a popularity contest. It doesn't matter what districts are. You know, I'm not saying you're going to flip representative seats. You're going to flip. You might flip state senator. But the governor, getting rid of DeSantis when he's up for re-election, that's going to be the big deal. That's actually the more important thing at this point in my mind. So that's what I'm talking about. But anyway, Protoss here asks, is that guy really 1/4 black? That's what he says. That's his nickname. You know, I figured it's like, that's the name for him. Let's just call him 3/4 white Garrett. It just, it sounds better considering he works for Steven Crowder. And apparently even at some point later on in the stream, I called him a Crowder fuckboy. On Twitter last week, because he called me Anita Sarkeesian, so I called him a Crowder fuckboy. And then like Tom Connor from Midnight's Edge came on, and Garrett's like, I just want to thank you for like standing up for me, like when that Uber delivery guy like came at me. What the fuck, dude? These are like the thinnest skinned bitches I've ever met in my entire life. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if I could look at their report history and see how many of them flagged my videos. That's what I'm waiting for here. You know what I mean? Ooh. Like, that is the shit where it's at.
Well, considering how badly they got triggered over a simple LOL on an Instagram story. I mean,
yeah, I know.
Jesus.
I know. That's the thing about this. It's hysterical. It's like the hubris is off the chart. But let's continue.
You know, the San Francisco State is full of them, and you know, I had a retail store there too, and I got to talk to a lot of people, and not everybody's like that, obviously, in San Francisco, but a lot of the education, even in the freaking city college, was like that. And, you know, I didn't take it seriously 10, 15 years ago. I'm like, it's just a few people. It's never going to get bad. And, well, here the fuck we are. It's bad. And, you know, I
well,
don't
that's
know
because
how
there's
he fixes
always
it.
been a lot of followers, and it's up to strong men and women to stand up and be leaders, not to tell the dumb or the sheep what to do, but to stand up and lead by example. Well,
See, I love that line right there because they completely misunderstand the point of, like, Alex Jones does not understand what he's trying to say right there, right? Because he doesn't realize, or he knows, Alex Jones knows, these guys, they're the sheep.
Yeah.
They're outright the sheep. I mean, it doesn't matter how many data points you send them, how many pieces of information you send them that discount all they say. You know, like at some point later on in the stream, he criticizes how much acreage Bill Gates has, uses it as some kind of, like, you know, conspiratorial thing. Gates actually, I looked that up. Gates recently said, like, that was all done by the board. They bought that for an investor purpose, owning 290,000 acres of farmland or whatever. So it's like, you know, again, it's all of this. It's like here's a little factoid, and then here's this spin on top of it, you know, by trying to make it out to be worse than it is, because that's what Jones does, and that's what he spends this entire time doing.
Well, I mean, the reason they're so much alike is, like, you know, they each have, whether it's Fandom, Menace, Comicsgate, or InfoWars, they have their overarching threat narrative, right? That there's this, and they overlap a lot. But as long as the audience accepts that threat narrative, anything else that's said supports that in their mind. You know what I mean? So, like, if fucking Bill Gates has how many acres or whatever, that definitely supports that. Like,
oh no, 100%. It's just, it's absolutely wild because they keep. I think some of them actually do believe this. You know, and Austin here says the saddest part about the stream was people brainwashed in the chat encouraging it. Oh yeah, dude, 100%, 100%. They share a lot of the same audience, and they all have to keep upping and upping and upping the intensity of what they say in order to satiate that audience. That's the whole point. And I can speak to this from when I used to do the whole anti-SJW stuff, because I'd wake up in the morning and I'd be like, okay, what will make me angry today? Because that anger then transfers through to what I'm saying, and then that anger will then transfer through to the audience, and the audience will be, you know, they'll feel it, right? They'll be enthralled by it. They get that hit that they're looking for. That is literally every single thing everyone on the screen does.
Yep.
With this group. They find those particular pain points and they keep hitting them through repeated bullshit. Gary at some point, even later on in the stream, was like, he's like, I'm objective. I show sources where I can. And I'm like, in the chat, I even said, I'm like, Gary, you said that they were going to put critical race theory into the new Lord of the Rings show without a shred of evidence. Stop lying.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Which they do bring up. It's like, oh yeah, Alex, Disney's introducing critical race theory. They're going to corrupt our children. It's like, oh my God.
Oh yeah, I know. I saw someone make a comment there about that the vast majority of people hate vaccines or hate the mandates. Like, here's the thing with that, man. We've had 177 million people in this country fully vaccinated. If 80 million people are having their freedoms denied because they don't want the jab or the poke to stop the coof, whatever word they want to use, more than double of those people have actually come out and gotten fully vaccinated because they understand that it's actually about the greater good and trying to actually protect everybody. What this is conspiratorial QAnon bullshit, or as I've been saying, jokingly, of course, Q-Baka. That's what they are. They're Q-Baka. They just believe all this nonsense, but they hide behind the concept of pop culture as a way to indoctrinate and radicalize more people. And I've even made the joke before, and I stand by it, even though it's a bit hyperbolic. The energy I get out of this kind of shit is the same kind of energy I got on January 6th and what was leading up to it. I would not be surprised, to be fair, if somebody came on in and took a gun and went to Lucasfilm and threatened Kathleen Kennedy because they're upset with what she did to Star Wars, because someone on the internet got them so mad that their childhood was being taken away, that their culture was being taken away, that there was a disgrace to the history, the legacy of these characters. And we've heard that rhetoric before. And where did we hear that? Oh yeah, fucking Doomcock just the other day.
With the whole Rocketeer thing.
Yeah. So we've heard this constantly. This is exactly the kind of energy. It's the same kind of grift. It's that same kind of nonsense. And there is a lot of that kind of radicalization here on YouTube. And Alex Jones is like the God Emperor of that. Yep. And I know a lot of people, they like to go hide behind him being wildly energetic and wildly entertaining, and he's so crazy. You never know what's going to happen with Alex Jones.
He's the funny meme man. The frogs are gay guy.
That's the same thing as like when they would say, oh, Trump is kind of, he's kind of crazy, but he tells it like it is. It's just the shield they throw out so that they can kind of casually dismiss that they're totally eating up everything he says.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, here I'm just going to say, every person here is the villain, by the way, but they see themselves as a hero of their own story. But in reality, it's the exact opposite. They're out there not trying to, bridge the gap, not trying to find any kind of middle ground. They do it simply because it's profitable. And Jeremy will openly admit it. The Quartering will openly admit it. He will openly admit that he does it for money. He says even early in the stream that he's trying to build a house from scratch, which, hey, cool, man. Good. You know what? Like, that's great. Milwaukee's a great place. I was there a couple of years ago. That's where I met him. And he's building a house there. Cool. But he understands that in order to pay for that, in order to do that, he has to continue this grift. And he is afraid that if he screws up and he loses that, he's going to lose the ability to build a home, which is why during this live stream, he posted a video to his channel saying, I'm currently chatting with Alex Jones and I'm concerned, which was an entire call to action for his audience to subscribe to his Subscribe Star, just in case this stream goes too far and it ultimately takes him down. What does that tell you about the fucking conviction of these people? It's all about the money. It's about the almighty dollar, which I'm sorry, who does that remind you of? Oh yeah, the globalists that they're fighting against.
Yep. Yeah. There's decades of history of positive ways to engage in fandom to make things, to change things if you really want things to change. You know what I mean? Like, it's been proven time and time again. It doesn't work every time, but there have been lots of successful attempts. So the fact that they do this shit just nonstop and have been for how many years now, it's just, you're right. It's disingenuous. There's no conviction. It's all about their own grift, their own clicks.
Yeah. And that's how they do it.
Consequences be damned. They don't care what they do as they, crash down, they don't care who gets hurt on the way down this rabbit hole,
Well, it is. I'm still trying to figure out what the end game of it is here, because it seems like really reckless.
I don't think they have an end game. I really don't think they know what they're doing. I really don't think they have an end game. They're just going to ride this for as long as they can.
This was a terrible idea. Like, it took me 5 minutes on the show last night to come up with a better grift idea than they had. I seriously don't see how this serves them any purpose in the end. It's just, it doesn't look good. I'm surprised they let him go off the leash so much. I mean, I'm not really that surprised, but it still just kind of like boggles my mind that they thought that this was an okay thing to do on YouTube. Like, they should have done it on another fucking platform, like I fucking said. If they really wanted to do it that bad, have a conversation with this guy, it would have at least been smart. If not,
it would have been much smarter, because then you could grow an alternate video platform in case things go shit on YouTube. Yeah,
but you know what? You and I can think about that, RJ, but apparently all 8 of these fuckers here just didn't have that idea run through their head for even one goddamn second before they agreed.
Well, it doesn't serve the narrative. It doesn't serve the narrative if they actually gave a shit and paid attention. But let's there's still a lot more to get through, so let's just keep going with it.
Okay.
Kind of stood back and now let the bullies and the corporate mind control behavioral psychologists come in and really bully all these really soft domesticated people and then spin them up as kind of Maoist cultural revolution types. And so now they finally have a purpose. They're crazed. They're going to rule. You're going to go to a FEMA camp, but they are going to be running the FEMA camp, which of course isn't true. Any authoritarian system takes over like this, it always gets rid of the useful idiots first. Then they come to the leaders of the opposition and say, we'd like to hire you to work for us. And so, I mean, that's the stuff that happens to me. They're constantly, they haven't done it in a few years, but like, you won't take 10 million? How about 50 million? I mean, literally. And those are off-record meetings, but I mean, I've had meetings with top people, the top globalists below the David Rockefeller, Bill Gates type, but like, they're head guys. I mean, hell, one of them in front of my producer, John Harmon.
So wait, so he's saying here that over the years he has had multiple interviews contacted by people who work in the mainstream, right? Like the guys below the top guys, and he hasn't. Like, I don't know. I always find that kind of hard to believe with him because he's been wrong so many times.
Yeah, I mean, when's he been right?
I don't know. Like, he says he's been right a lot, and like the frogs being gay, but there's a chemical that raises the estrogen level. It's, You kind of like the theory behind fucking Jurassic Park, I guess. But I don't know. I mean, the thing is, like, even later on, they talk a bit about the Sandy Hook thing, right? And that's a big point of contention for a lot of people, because the Sandy Hook thing, Jones actually tries to very much tries to argue that it really wasn't that big of a deal, that he was just questioning, right? He was just questioning what he saw. And then he tries to equate it to what happened back in Kuwait in 1990, where they said like Saddam's troops had gone in and like killed like women on ventilators, or pregnant women on ventilators or incubators in Iraq, right? And that never happened. And I honestly don't know if that did or didn't happen, but to try to go from like where we know that 20 children were shot and killed by Adam Lanza at Sandy Hook in Connecticut in December 2012, we know that really fucking happened. But then sit there and to go, well, I was questioning it because that's what I do. No, that's a load of shit, because even one woman who she's from Florida had believed him so much that these people were crisis actors, that it was all fake, that she actually eventually harassed one of the families enough to where a judge ordered her to never watch or listen to it ever again.
There were several people that happened to. I remember seeing a video years ago where there was like a couple that were dedicated to doing that. They would hang around outside the cemetery where some of the kids were buried, and when the parents would go to the cemetery, they'd be yelling in their faces and shit like that. It's fucking disgusting.
Yeah, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. I see some people here in the chat are pro Alex Jones fans. That's cool. Like, I don't care, but it's like, again, this is all talking points, and you guys can sit here and flap your gums as much as you want, but it ain't going to change anyone's opinion, because you guys in this scenario are the sheep. So enjoy it.
Yeah, I want to ask a question real quick. Is it true that Alex Jones has said some conspiracy stuff on 9/11?
He actually, in that clip I showed earlier, right? In that clip I showed earlier that Vadim put together, there was a very quick line in there where he starts talking about like false flags, and he mentions like false terrorist attacks and Building 7 going down.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I missed that. Yeah.
So that was a brief one. It was really quick, and no one, of course, questioned him on it, because today is at least on the West Coast here, it is still September 9th, 2021. We are only a few hours away from 20-year anniversary of the fall of the Twin Towers in New York City. It's obviously a day that no one in this country who was alive then would ever forget, and people who weren't alive yet are going to learn about and probably never forget. Our country was attacked, and here it is on the eve of that. While pimping anti-vaccine nonsense, he makes a comment about how Building 7 was an inside job.
Yeah, it's a terrible look. Terrible.
It's like,
look.
And this is, and no one questioned him on it. No one called him on it. No one's going to question God Emperor Alex Jones, because they're all beta male cucks. That's what they are. They're all beta male cucks. They won't ask the questions. They won't push back on anything. Jeremy would, Geeks and Gamers, if Alex Jones whipped it out and put it on the table, Jeremy would have no problem just going, all right, just the tip. Yeah. And then taking the whole thing down to the balls, because he would, because that's the kind of person that he is, because they so want to get into that circle. Because even at the end of this thing, when Alex left, Jeremy's like, oh, I can't believe I get to say this, but I'll text you later, Alex. Like, oh, someone's got a crush.
That's cute.
Oh, someone's go. Did you guys match on Tinder or Grindr? Whatever you're into. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, they like to have a daddy is what I like to say. They always have their daddy that they just, cling to unconditionally, like Snyder was, until suddenly he denounced them and shit. So. Oh
yeah. That was actually at the beginning of this thing too. When Alex got on, Jeremy's like, do you denounce Geeks and Gamers? Cause that's what people in Hollywood do. And then they even bitch about that at the end of this. I saw something earlier with with AZ making a comment about that. Never mind the fact that it's like, hey, listen, everything that Zack Snyder denounced them for right now, they fucking proved him right. Mm-hmm. Hashtag Zack Snyder was right.
Yeah. I believe, what was it? Az was like, fuck Zack Snyder. It's like, really?
Yeah, I know. Really? It's all performative. It's all a show. It's not real, but they want you to think that it is. So you'll be emotionally invested into it, and then you'll give them money because they're the truth tellers. That's what they want. McLeod here with
the pro wrestling model.
It is. It's all pro wrestling. It's all kayfabe, 100%. Now, McLeod here says, according to Jones's buddy, old Joe Brogan, Alex is right about a couple of things. Of what I don't know and don't care, they're peas in the same pod. They are. Joe Rogan has become way worse since moving to Austin, 100%. So this guy here, you're a fucking bullshit coward boulder boy. You can lick my taint. I don't know who the fuck you are, but feel free to just like slurp it down. It's hot and I'm sweaty and I got huge balls. Feel free to just let them bounce around your mouth for a while. Taste the salt. Anyway, I'm in a mood.
Like 14 years ago, says, listen, and this is over the telephone during the break. He goes, listen, he's the head of the Kissinger group at the time. He said, you're part of the super class. There's only 1,000 of us. You could lead the liberty movement and influence global things by being the leader of a populist movement. Come to New York. We know you're great. I did this interview about my book because I want to convince you. Come to New York. Join me and Henry Kissinger. It's like, join me and I will complete your dream. You don't know of the globalist. And I mean... So that's how this is, folks. They collect people like baseball cards. And most people like Jimmy Kimmel, because, you know, that's the news now is the nighttime propaganda, right. Or Stephen Colbert. They get on their knees and say, yeah, I want the $30 million contract. So, and then, of course, Chucky Schumer pulls out the you-know-what.
Well, they end up, it's nearly
not
impossible.
About sex, Gary.
Yeah. It's nearly impossible for most human beings to turn that down. And then they become so used to it that you see the transition in real time where you've seen a guy like Kimmel or Colbert go from, okay, he made the occasional kind of like liberal leaning joke to basically full out propaganda now.
Doesn't that remind you of everyone on this panel?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and Jeremy says it here, AZ says it later on, and it's all projection.
It's ass.
It's who fucking cares?
Yeah.
Who fucking cares?
Yeah,
you know
he's
what?
An asshole.
I don't care. AZ as heel versus baby dick. Who fucking cares? All right. Like, who gives a shit? All right. He's a moron. But they were right though. They were right here when they say like, it's, you know, who can turn down the money, who can turn down the fame, turn down the popularity, and then to slowly shift your views and to slowly shift your ideas from talking about something from maybe a centrist perspective to full blown propaganda. Have you seen the Quarterings videos? Have you seen Nerdrotics videos? Have you seen Jeremy's videos? Hale versus as whatever the fuck his name is. Well, all that shit is propaganda.
Yeah, and this is where it gets even funnier. The Quartering himself, actually, if you follow the Quartering Receipts account, he put out a video saying, I need to hate less or whatever. I need to change my channel a little bit. And then the next video he posted, like not even like 40 minutes later, was about the KOTOR remake being woke because of the Mary Sue writer.
I like, okay, Jeremy, like you're already hammered. All right. Like the day's not, you know, you're not even halfway through the day. And he already got drunk and had to fuck off. And so it's just, that's kind of the point here. Oh, we got what is here. Mike Shadez says left-wing cocksuckers are jealous. Again, I love that. It's not even an argument. That's like, and this has been the whole point.
Outburst.
Yeah, I know. Like, do you need a Midol, buddy? Need a tissue? Need to lay down? Need a warm towel on your face? Kind of maybe you just need to listen to some, you know, some Enya and like, you know, inhale lavender. I don't know. I don't know what you're into. I don't know what's going to make you calm down and go to sleep. Need some melatonin? I got some, you know, child melatonin over here. Take 3 of them, knock you right the fuck out. They're gummies. You don't have to swallow anything. You just got to chew. You can chew. You can run your mouth. You can chew. There you go. I'm in a hell of a mood here.
Last night he had you know, in his monologue, he's like, well, if you don't have the poke, then you should be denied health care. Like, where is that coming?
You don't deserve ICU beds.
Yeah, you're seeing a lot of that coming
kind of propaganda.
Kill people. I mean, that's Joseph Mengele level. If you don't do what we want medically with
But again, overlooking the context of why they're saying, like, why people, like, even in my area, I live in a small town, 45,000 people. The hospital here, full up with people with COVID because they haven't gotten the fucking shot. And the people who are needing to have beds are not being able to get in to have beds.
Yeah, my state is certainly having an issue with ICU beds as well. And a lot of it, very sadly, is affecting children in children's hospitals, especially in terms of COVID numbers. So
again, it's wildly disingenuous. It's wildly ridiculous. And they're all like, oh, no. I'm like, and they go off and I think it's going to be Garrett here is going to do like something about the Hippocratic Oath. I mean, it's total projection because if the shoe was on the other foot, they would absolutely criticize these hospitals for like not having enough beds. Why don't you have enough beds? Why where's the funding from that? Don't you guys live in liberal areas? Where's the funding to put more beds in? It's just, it's all political. It's all theater. And they're quite frankly, stupid. I want to do this one here from McLeod. Thank you, buddy. This garbage defies and defiles all notions of logic, common sense, and critical thinking. These chuds are completely irredeemable. Zero sympathy for them. Yeah. Like it's getting there. It's really getting there.
Experimental shot that's already killed a bunch of people. We are going to kill you. Denying somebody medical care is murder.
Yeah, we don't have that happen for people that have mistreated their bodies for 40 fucking years and are morbidly obese. You don't see them getting denied access, even though they're well aware what they're doing is inherently unhealthy. We treat everyone. That is part of the medical
I believe doctors have to make an oath on that.
Yeah, exactly.
There is something. They do. Yeah.
And now we have this entire thing trying to separate people by did you or didn't you?
Yeah.
It is fucking
second-class citizens. You're separating everybody.
Standing up and speaking.
Yeah, I bet that oath will change pretty soon.
Well,
that's all right. Can I say something?
Yeah.
I just think it's very hypocritical because these people have done nothing but divide people up. Like that's literally what they do for a living. In large part, what they do is they try and divide people and get them like galvanized against each other. It literally supports what they fucking do to get people pissed off and raging against each other and to be as divided as possible. Is that not what they do? And they're trying to say that other people are doing that. It's like don't fucking throw stones in glass houses.
That's exactly what they do. Yeah, a lot of projection for sure.
Yeah, I was going to mention real quick, Ryan Kindle himself seems very energetic during the stream, very excited, I also wanted to point out his shirt says Make America Alpha Again. I did not notice that until just now. That's what his shirt says, Make America Alpha Again.
Cringe.
Oh, it's funny. Actually, it's funny you mentioned Kindle. I found this clip later on.
Guys have no self-awareness whatsoever.
They literally goes out there and he's like, yeah, and there's like 20 people in the crowd. He's like, yeah.
Yeah, if they had any self-awareness, the white liberals wouldn't be dressing in gorilla masks and throwing eggs at a black man.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
Throwing
the tolerant
punches.
left.
Come on.
But Larry Elder's still the white or the black face of white supremacy somehow.
Yeah. That bitch should have got laid the fuck out when she threw that punch. I respect that he said no and he didn't punch her, but she fucking deserved that shit.
I guess she did deserve it, but women are so weak that to like even hit them acknowledges them as some sort of threat, to be honest with you.
Just go like,
no, he did the right thing. He walked on and he didn't.
Yeah.
Wow.
So women are weak, and if you hit them, it acknowledges that they're a threat. Make America Alpha again.
Jesus Christ, dude.
I thought that was kind of funny.
I mean, I'm not trying to be like homophobic or anything, but I kind of sense like some closeted vibes from that dude being that, you know what I mean, against women and
well, considering he's a Jeremy Griggs knockoff, he must really love fondling balls. So
nice.
Yeah. Well, speaking of fondling something here, Andrew says, Jarbo, in order for melatonin to work, you have to swallow it. I said you chew it. The point was that he's a child and needs to chew the melatonin. But I maybe said it a little bit too fast. It's my bad. All right, we're getting close to the end of this clip.
Dude, he says, I am fed up with you and I'm running out of patience. You unvaccinated did this. You're killing people. When they know full well, it's in mainline news, the majority of the hospital cases and deaths in Israel, in the U.S., are the vaccinated. They've just been hiding that if anybody dies within 2 weeks of an injection, they count you as unvaccinated. That's on the CDC's website. So you take that in graphs, it's unvaccinated, vaccinated, in hospitalizations in the U.S., in Canada, in England, in Israel, it's all the same. They're tracking the same. But weeks ago when they found that and took the number and counted people that died within 2 weeks as vaccinated is dying way more. These are the numbers. I've got it all right here. They don't want people to see this information. They want to keep you in the dark, keep therapeutics away from people. And again, now they're openly saying, all these, Howard Stern said, F these people that died, F them, ha ha ha, they didn't take the vaccine. Well, the damn vaccine, if the vaccine worked, I'd be taking the freaking crap. I've had tetanus shots, stuff like that. This is not a classic vaccine where you give them the whole thing attenuated, and you learn how to beat it. It goes in and programs your cells, the mRNA does, to then go and create this spike protein that'll supposedly let your body know what to attack. I mean, that's crazy.
Well, let me just inject here.
Yeah, so I mean, of course, Jeremy's going to run defense here in a second, but
yeah, he needs to save his ass so they don't look so horrible.
Yeah, no, he's trying. That's why he ends up taking off here. Not that later. But I did want to bring up a quick counterpoint to what Jones here is saying, because he says, the vaccine has killed a lot of people. According to I forget this website here, but you can Google it. It says here that 187.2 million people in the U.S. have been vaccinated as of July 19th, and there have only been Oh, is this the wrong? Oh no, hold on. It's at the bottom there. It's at the bottom there. No, crap. I grabbed the wrong image. That is my bad. I grabbed the wrong image on that one. I thought I had the right one.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. I grabbed the wrong image. Let me see if I could find it. But anyway, it's really not that many. Let me see, have died from.
Basically, it's such a low number that it's not really, what's the word for it? It shouldn't be a concern or something stopping you from getting vaccinated. If that makes sense, I guess.
It's kind of like, I mean, it's you drive a car every day, probably.
Yeah, it's it's according to this, 6,207 people have died.
Damn.
And that is still tragic nonetheless, but that is 0.0018% of doses. And so that's not to say that it's great, but it's not like, it's not hundreds of thousands, it's not millions of people.
Yeah, it's not so wide scale that everyone should just not take it whatsoever.
Yeah. So that's kind of the whole there.
Well, that's kind of what they do, is they find something that like is true in an anecdotal sense, and then they just blow it way out of proportion and make that like this is the problem, this is going on everywhere, and you should be afraid of it. You know what I mean? That's the whole grift. And
yeah, that's the whole idea here is like, and I alone can save you sort of nonsense. That's the mindset. But we are getting close to the end. Let's just finish this up.
Here, real quick, interject. None of us are doctors.
I knew you were going to do that. That's the one.
Nobody on this panel is a doctor, and this is everyone's own individual opinions.
Yeah,
that's
Let's just say this. Let's just say this. We do not need to drink water to live. You do not need food to live. All you need is injections. You can live alone by Fauci blessing you. If you touch the hem of Fauci's garment, you will live forever. No. I'm an idiot. I'm a moron. None of this is true. Oh my God, everything's fine. The vaccine works perfectly. Everybody should take it. YouTube is wonderful. The head of YouTube's sister heavily invested in the big pharma vaccines is wonderful. I think I think Apple running death camps in China is wonderful. I think the suicide nets around Foxconn are awesome. No borders, no walls. No USA at all. Let's
not forget those concentration camps either. The Disney funded concentration camps.
I am so happy that I am being clipped in.
See what I'm talking about there? Like the Disney funded concentration camps that we're talking about, the Chinese run Uyghur concentration camps that are happening.
The Mulan thing.
Yeah, the next to where Mulan was filmed. Now, look, I'm in no way supportive of that. I do think the Chinese is a very oppressive government. That's not Disney funded. Right. You know what I mean? Like it's all that disingenuous mindset, the shit that they believe. I got into it with a guy on Twitter last night who was all like, he told me Disney is manipulating the box office. And I said, there's no way for that to happen. Like, there's literally no way for that to happen.
Oh, we're talking about the Comicsgate guy?
Yeah, the Comicsgate guy.
And
really
so then, insane dude.
And then he's like, I finally got him to go, no, this is my opinion. And I'm like, well, you have no evidence.
He was like, we just want to see these guys get what they deserve. We want to see it all burn down.
Yeah. So, but when he also talks about the head of Google's sister investing into pharma, this is what it is. So this is Ann Wojcicki, who is the head of 23andMe. And so she's been, their company's been helping out trying to do genetic analysis to help fight the coronavirus. But that, of course, doesn't matter if it's anything that's handled in a good way. Jones there's trying to say that it alters your mRNA. So it's all this massive thing that they're taking little tidbits and they're trying to twist them. And that's honestly, he fits in perfectly with this crew of people that all take a little thing and they try to shift it and split it and warp it and twist it and defile it and molest it, because that is all they've got, is to keep people dumb and to keep them stupid and ignorant. And then I love it here. It's like, oh no, we got to stand up and like not be sheep. But like, that's exactly what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I love to hear Oatmeal Joey Arnold's $3 theater is fake news. I'm pretty good.
Well, this is the same guy saying that Disney does fund it and that 23andMe is a scam. So,
Oh, I know. It's great. It's great. So let's, this clip is basically done at that point. He just, they just kind of do a couple little things.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Do you think that the quartering going, "Hey, none of us are doctors here," was him like trying to like poke at as a joke, or him?
No, that's him trying to cover his ass. That's what's going on. It's him trying to cover his ass.
That's what I figured.
The quartering
then Jones took it, then made it into a joke.
Okay, I've got a genuine question. Do you think the quartering regrets going on that stream?
No. Not yet.
But did you see his fucking body language during Vadim's clips? Did you see that?
I was actually going to point that out too. That Jeremy, I mean, I fucking don't like Jeremy. He's a lying, grifting piece of shit. So I'm not trying to defend him in any way. But there's something a little bit different about his facial expressions through some of that. Like he's kind of smirking, like "Holy shit, this is insane!" Like whereas the other guys are like just eating it up without question.
Yeah,
like they're loving it.
If you look at Gary's body language, I mean, Gary's in it. I mean, like he's leaned forward. He's intently listening to what Jones is saying. He's moving back and forth in like kind of a semi-rocking motion. He's incredibly hooked in to what Jones is doing and what Jones is saying. And everyone else is just kind of like listening. There's a line a little bit later on where Jones, it was in that first clip I played that Vadim put together, where he's like, in 9 years, like all of you are going to be dead, right? Like. Yeah. But then Odin tries to like come on in and save it, because he saved it. He goes like, well, you mean through climate change, right? And then everyone starts knocking climate change, and then so it's like he's trying,
because that's woke.
Because it's woke. Yeah, it's woke. It's woke to say that we're getting hotter. Yeah, okay. You gotta love it.
Well, I don't know if you guys saw this part, but before Alex got on the stream, Jeremy was on. They were talking about his YouTube channel and stuff, and just about his YouTube career. And he said that they're all because I think he was talking about like there hasn't really been like this big thing yet, this big moment for them to all really rally around, So he said that I had to go back and look, but he was basically saying, there's been like, we talked about The Last of Us 2, right? How there hasn't been a moment like that in a while, like some big rallying point they all can like attach themselves to.
Yeah,
he was saying basically that he's already preparing for like the end of his YouTube channel. He says, I'm ready, for the mobile game sponsorships and all this and that, which is really interesting to hear. How like he's basically saying that there hasn't been this big rallying moment for all these channels yet, and he doesn't know if there will be another one again.
Well, because everything they did in regards to like Loki and What If and everything in the Mandalorian, it's all failing. I mean, it's absolutely all failing. I did bring this up last night when talking about how the Fandom Menace was when Cara Dune was first announced versus to when she started espousing their ideas, and you can see here flat out that on the left it's is Cara Dune a Mary Sue and all this other stuff here, right? Gets woke from EVS, and then it's like, but they're trying to fire Gina Carano and all this shit, and this goes to show you that it's always been a grift like that, and this today is one of the biggest things. McLeod here says dick flaps like these guys on the right are the real snowflakes. They were the OG cancel culture, i.e. McCarthyism, the satanic scare, anti-comics, video games, Dixie Chicks, conversion therapy. Yeah, I don't disagree with you there. Like they are absolutely pro cancel culture, provided it feeds in to their narrative. And of course, they're going to sit there and they're going to follow whatever outrage they can do that's going to lead to getting more money. And then if you ever question that, then the results come back in or people say like, oh, well, you're just upset that they had like 16,000 people watching. And I saw some guy in the comment here say that like, whoa, they had 16,000. You've got 151. Yeah, no, I do. But I'm also like, here's the thing. Let's say when Hassan Piker sees this, because it's going to happen, he's got 48,000 people that generally tend to tune in when he's live. And so that's going to go almost 3 times the amount on the other side.
Yeah, and I want to make a point too. Here's the difference, right? This channel may only have 150 or whatever people watching. We only get like sometimes 100 peak. But these are recognizable faces in this chat. Geek Studios, Music Man, Tony Izzo, Andrew Casali, to name a few, KG. You guys are recognizable faces. There's a community that's being built here. 16,000 people doesn't mean shit when it's just like name scrolling by in a chat that you can't even read, and they choose to not even engage unless you're giving them money. Real Animal Cinema, H-Bar. It's like there's a real community here, and even though it's not as big, it's more interpersonal. It makes the streams more fun and engaging.
Yeah.
16,000 is cool and all for like monetization and everything, you know.
Sure.
Get more
There's
eyes
a lot of
watching
money
it,
there,
like,
yeah.
It's not interpersonal, it's not fun. You know?
Yeah, Andrew here with $2 says Spanish Inquisition was the OG cancel culture. Pretty sure it goes back before the Spanish Inquisition, but that was definitely one of the big ones. Tony here is saying they're Anita Sarkeesian 2.0. They really are. They absolutely are. Because remember, everything is sexist, right? Against white men. Everything is misogynistic, you know, against white men. And then they have to call it, everything is racist against white men. And they have to call it all out. All the time.
Yeah,
so
that chose to become the mirror image of Sarkeesian and the SJW movement. You know what I mean?
But they don't have the media support. They don't have the media support of anything. And one of the things that they brought up here, at one clip, because this whole thing has a lot of stuff going through it, but they talked about like Alex Jones and having to like apologize because he says, if I'm wrong, I apologize. And then like, you know, Garrett was all, but the media never apologizes. Well, let's talk really quick about what Alex Jones had to apologize for. So he hasn't, he's kind of admitted with that Sandy Hook thing that he is an idiot and that no person in their right mind would believe him.
But he was going to face legal action though.
Oh, yeah, well, that's what but that's not the only time. So he mentioned Pizzagate at some point in the thing, and there's a whole rant about it, but I get there's so much to go through. I couldn't get to everything. But he had talked about Pizzagate. And he says in the stream, the media was covering first. The media was talking about it first. We just reported on what the media was doing. That's bullshit. Pizzagate first got big when there was a document like a PDF that was circulating around trying to say that Comic Ping Pong had like all of the pedo symbols in there, and they were trying to like run this infographic, this massive PDF infographic. I made fun of it because it was so ridiculously stupid. And then they pointed the finger at Comic Ping Pong. They pointed the finger at James Alefantis. InfoWars a day or two later ran a video that I don't believe was by Alex. I think it was Owen Schroyer who did it. I could be wrong, but that's what I recall. And that is like, what is Pizzagate? That was the very first video they put out. They talked about it. That wasn't reporting off the mainstream media. They were fueling that rage against it. Mike Cernovich pushed Pizzagate quite a bit. That's not the mainstream media. That's a right-wing cuck lawyer. That's who he is. And then all of a sudden it gets to its high point where like people were literally like stalking Comet Ping Pong Pizzeria. They were like walking around it with video cameras trying to find the entrance to the secret sex dungeon. Couldn't find anything. And then Edgar M. Welch, I think he was like 25 years old, drove down to DC with his gun, walked in, opened fire to clear the place out, and then went and tried to find this child sex slave dungeon that he was told by InfoWars was in that place. And as a result of that, I believe he just got out of jail, or he's just getting out of jail after serving 4 years and some change in federal prison. And then Alex Jones was sued by James Alefantis, and Alex Jones in March of 2017 had to come out and apologize and retract his statements about Comic Ping Pong Pizzeria. So that is why Alex Jones had to apologize. Then even the next month, in April of 2017, Alex Jones had to once again issue a retraction and an apology to Chobani Yogurt, who was based out of Twin Falls, Idaho, and hires a lot of refugees to work in the yogurt factory there. And he had accused them, those refugees, of being basically murderers and rapists, and that they were being brought in by the owner of Chobani, and a lot of other heinous things that he was then sued for. In order to settle it, he had to come out and issue a retraction. So, and then of course you have the Sandy Hook thing. This is not an uncommon thing for Alex Jones. He says incredibly dumb shit all the time, but people swallow it like they're in a fucking porno, and it's just, it is ridiculous shit.
Well, like there's this, I guess it was the Sandy Hook case. I'm looking, let's see.
While you're looking, let me get to this Andrew Dunbar super chat here. It says here, also interestingly, the Spanish Inquisition always provided their targets 30 days written notice. Everyone expected the Spanish Inquisition. Oh, okay. Great Monty Python line there.
Yeah, I was going to mention too, like really the thing that's like most baffling about all this is that, I mean, it was kind of to be expected because he is their guest, but it's like no pushback. They're just nodding in agreement, letting him just say whatever, no consequences whatsoever, just agreeing with him, even when he's spouting the most ridiculous of even they have to know in their heart of hearts it's not true. and they're just letting him say whatever he wants to say, just letting him go off, and there's no challenge. You know, that's the most baffling about the entire thing to me, honestly.
Yeah.
Not even like a tiny bit of pushback, just a little bit, not even a sense of it, just like a I don't know what the word for it is, but just like they just let him just say whatever he wanted. You know, it was almost like a hug box session.
In Alex Jones's divorce case in Texas, and this is something that Tucker Carlson's lawyers argued in court as well, that no reasonable person would take what they're saying as factual, that they're entertainment based. So they've admitted it legally that like they're not doing, you know, factual reporting. That's documented. You know what I mean? So it's pretty fucked up.
It's very interesting when you start looking at it from the legal perspective, just because, yeah, he's had to put himself in these situations. And of course he doesn't care. Like he doesn't care about these guys' channels. Like if they go down because he was on it, he doesn't care. It doesn't impact him at all. And so hold on here. Rational here with $5. Thank you. Says, remember when the SPLC had to apologize to Majid Nawaz after he sued them? Yeah, no, yeah. And that's, you know, and the thing is with that, that's fine. I'm fine with that. Like if people, you know, there's been a lot of shit said about me that I probably have a pretty decent legal case against. You know, people have made, you know, very, very bad claims against me, to the point of where it's like, I've had to like take precautions, but again, it's just, it's ridiculous shit. But let's get into this, second part of this thing here, where this is where it gets into the pop culture stuff. So this is where we get back. Now we're past the vaccines.
yeah. Now we're back to like the entire point of what Friday Night Tights was about, pop culture talk from their perspective. So
yeah. Foul here says, my favorite part was when one of them said, I used to think Alex was crazy. That was
Jeremy. That was Jeremy Griggs right up there. I used to think you were crazy
until I started paying attention. Like,
there's no saving Jeremy with that.
No,
he basically just said, nope, I believe Alex Jones completely.
So I haven't heard all of this clip yet. So this is just their whole bit about Hollywood and just like
it's really bad.
This is kind of the highlight of let me just take a quick screenshot so I can add that into the timeline. All right, so let's check this out.
I mean, the one thing a lot of us
can you guys hear that okay?
Kind of what we talk about here on this show, our world, is the wokeness of Hollywood and everything. And the question I get asked, and all of us get asked, and I'm interested in your perspective on this, where did it really start? Now, obviously, that's a deep question for someone like you, but where did it really start to show the cracks and the wokeness of Hollywood, in your opinion?
That is a really good question. You know, you guys should host my show sometime with your whole roundtable.
Oh, you know what? I know what this is called, an echo chamber.
Yeah. Well, also notice how he doesn't really have like an answer like right away. Mm-hmm. It's a deflective answer. It's
I need like 10 seconds to think of something.
Yeah. Oh, you guys should totally come and do my show. You guys are great. I love you guys. Yeah, it's not real.
You can't cuss, but if you guys ever want to come host a show, you'd be a great roundtable to do it. I'd love to have you do it and plug your shows. But you know, to try to come up with an answer to that, I don't want to give. That's a complex cultural question, and so it's really hard to give an accurate question. But I would say Hollywood was already collapsing by the time Obama got there, and then he was sold as like a Hollywood commodity to bring humanity together, save everybody, and Americans wanted to really, you know, stop racism. And then when he became a divider and a manipulator, and people saw Hollywood pushing him, it began to really crumble. And then when you have the internet, you know what killed Hollywood is the internet, because and mainline television, because
that's a weird angle to take right off the bat.
Yeah,
the internet killed it.
The internet, it's like video killed the radio star. That's the vibe I'm getting out of that right there. Now yeah, pretty much. But it's like Obama coming in as, you know, Obama didn't, in my mind, Obama was accused of being the great divider, but a lot of it was like also the attacks against him for being the first black president.
Well, again, it always comes back to Obama. Blame Obama for everything, you know.
Well, I mean, he wore that tan suit that one time.
That one fucking time. So, by the way, when it comes to the sound, there is not much I can do about that. I do apologize, guys. The first clip, I actually had to crank the sound up myself in the edit This one, I'm not able to do much with it. I would love to make it go a little louder. I would just say turn your mics up a little bit. I'll turn mine down a little bit so then it doesn't blow you out. So I am sorry, but let's go on.
They could never. I think I remember a Joe Rogan bit. I'm not trying to just riff on Joe Rogan, but like back in 1999, I'm sitting there in Austin watching him at the Cap City Comedy Club, and he's talking about, you know what's going to happen to mainline TV, and he'd already been a national, TV host and stuff, on news radio, and I was about to do Fear Factor.
Yeah.
He said, do you know what is going to kill TV and movies and everything? He said, I predict by the year 2020, we're not going to be flying around on silver jetpacks and stuff. He goes, I predict by the year 2020, you'll basically, mainline TV in Hollywood will be dead and everything will be the internet or a facsimile of that. And that's totally true. So it's the internet and all these choices in Hollywood.
Hollywood before the pandemic had its greatest year ever in theaters.
Yeah, it did.
So
it was, streaming was still a thing, but for them it was just another monetary avenue, right?
Yeah.
So,
and I've talked about this before. Everyone will always justify the cost of entertainment. So, when you put things in movies in theaters and they appeal to a certain demographic, people in that demographic are going to go. And if it's good, they're going to repeatedly go. So, I mean, we're looking at another 40 million for Shang-Chi this weekend.
Yeah.
40, 50.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Movies are still where the biggest amounts of money can possibly be made, but streaming is another feather in the cap because ultimately this one makes the most amount of money possible. Right.
Yeah.
So they want all the revenue avenues.
Oh, 100%.
Well, that's like why the get woke, go broke thing just doesn't make any damn sense because, they've been quote unquote making stuff woke for several years now. And yet these businesses haven't, the corporations haven't gone out of business. They keep making the movies quote unquote woke. You know what I mean? So there's no logic to it.
No, there's not. It's just all it is a talking point, and it's just something you can it's a slogan, like lock her up, build the wall. It's very easy. Get woke, go broke. It's very monosyllabic. Like each word only has one syllable in it. It's very easy to recite. You're not going to forget it.
Thought terminating cliches. I just did a video on that.
Yeah. And so that's a lot of, a lot of these people generally only understand things in like very small, very few syllables. Anything bigger than that. I got into it tonight with a guy in another stream and I was speaking normally, like I normally do. He's like, oh, you're using a lot of huge words. And I'm like, should I speak monosyllabically? And he's all like, he got real mad at that. Fucking moron. Anyway.
Yep.
Wood and big tech and legacy dinosaur media, they all were like, oh, no one will care about that. We'll still control it. We'll get some talent out of it like minor leagues, but we'll still be the dominant force. But instead, the rawness, the visceralness, the choice of it, the full spectrum of it, of humanity really just wanting common people and normal people and regular people. And all of it's been hideous. Some of it's been wonderful. It's been everything in a full spectrum of a billion colors and ideas. That is something that once people taste it, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. You can't get the cows or the horses to come back in the barn. They're gone. And so that's how this works. And so as they ignored the internet and were arrogant, it was already taking over. Anti-globalism was already one of the main veins. It was already, people were being warned. So now their memories are longer than the globalists think because it's subconsciously there. And now it's coming back to their memories. And so that was killing them. But then with Netflix and with Amazon and all these channels flooding bad productions, flooding bad actors, flooding wokeness, as soon as Hollywood began to realize 5-6 years ago they were losing control, a day late, $1 short, then they go, okay, weaponize it and divide and conquer them and make them tune into it because it's political and hateful. But then that drove more people away. And so, okay, we'll take over late night comedy, take over the nightly shows, take over sports, take over the kids' schools, just take it all over because they're all these old, twisted, hunchback devils and crypt keepers that literally hate themselves and hate us and want to take us all with them. That's why Soros.
What the fuck is he talking about? What the fuck, dude? And asshole over there in the top right corner is going, that shit in Graham's face, like, yep, he's so on point. It's like, what the fuck is he talking about? Nothing made sense. What was the point being said?
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Okay, so what he's trying to say, I'm trying to understand this through the concept of, of deciphering translating what Alex Jones is saying. He doesn't have an answer, so it's all word salad. He's trying to say that the globalists were, trying to control people with the internet offered the raw, visceral nature. That's YouTube. That's something you hear about YouTube quite often, where like the personal connection you have with people. And the whole thing with it is we always have celebrity worship. We've always had celebrity worship in our society. So when you can go on YouTube and you can make videos and talk to people, people do get attached to that, right? Parasocial relationships is generally what he's referring to.
Yeah.
Well, but they're saying like, oh, they rushed out bad productions, bad actors. It's like
I get that. I don't get that. The woke agenda. Could I get an example of that, please? That's not fucking She-Ra.
Yeah, it's all just subjective shit.
Do you think Alex Jones watched She-Ra?
No, I think his kids watched it probably, or his son. His son was the fucking Rex. Is his son's name or some shit like that?
Rex is probably a Tumblr user that ships She-Ra.
No, he's not. He's been on a podcast. He's like, when he was like 17, he was like hanging out in this podcast. People who don't like me, they were talking about me. That's how I know about it. And like he was sitting there like, smoking cigarettes, again, underage, talking about getting drunk and getting high. And, again, underage, Alex Jones's kid, irresponsible teenager. I'm not going to fault him for anything because I get that's how these things go.
Again, they're just nodding their heads in agreement. They're not asking him to expand upon these points and give examples, or just like to have him ask like furthering or like asking more detailed questions. It's just like, yep,
yeah,
look at man preaching to us. He's speaking the truth, brothers.
They have no idea what he's saying either. Like, we're having to sit here and kind of listen line by line and try and suss out what the fuck he's talking about, but they don't know either. It's just, all they're sitting there going, I can't believe Alex Jones is on our stream. That's all they're thinking.
That's generally what it boils down to, is they're just going to let him do whatever he wants anyway, because you can't control him, right? Even Jeremy had said earlier on, I think like something, I think in his video, he's like, hopefully they have like a cough button, right? Something to, if he says something too outrageous, to like, have a delay to be able to, oof him out or whatever. No, they don't want that. Gary doesn't care.
No, they want it. They want him to be outlandish because that they know that they're getting in.
You should have seen the super chats that were coming on in, right?
I should have been paying more attention to them. But
the super chats that were coming on in on this thing. I mean, they were like, there was a couple of them like $200 or whatever, and it was just like the weirdest fucking shit. I'm like, what the hell are they trying to say? It's crazy. We got one here, though. Australian 15 from Michael Lamb. Thank you, buddy. Says, I'm glad they have gone so mask off alt-right. They are going to bring or red pill more people. They are not going to bring or red pill more people like this. That's the thing, though, is that they're not necessarily looking to bring, like Alex Jones is looking to bring in more people. They're looking to bring in Alex Jones's fans. That's the trade-off.
They know more eyes in their content.
Yeah, because over on InfoWars.com, they actually had a link for this on like the front page of InfoWars.com. So, they're looking at that as a victory. Oh, we got featured on InfoWars.com. Yeah, so did Paul Joseph Watson, running an article about pissing for feminism, where 4chan ran a gag trying to trick blue hairs on Twitter and the blue check marks on Twitter into pissing for feminism, which the whole point of it was to basically say, I'm going to piss myself as a way to stand in solidarity with women who have, urinated or defecated on themselves while being sexually assaulted. And they ran with this narrative, and Paul Joseph Watson picked it up and thought that it was real, thought that he knew that it was a joke, but he thought that there had been people that had really fallen for it, when it was all fake texts and fake tweets put out by 4chan. So again, no actual follow through. Right? No deep dive into it. No actual research. I actually put out a video debunking that, because I actually sat there and read the thread and looked everything up and followed it through. So no, these guys never have relied on any kind of factual information. All they do is they just make it up as they go along. But because there's a lot of cognitive dissonance and people out there who want confirmation bias, they eat it up like it's fucking tricks.
Yeah, no, totally.
So anyway, let's get back into. I know there's a lot here.
Wants war with China right now. So that was the beginning and end of Hollywood. And then once people in Hollywood realized it was a big burnout, destroyed crater in a bowl with toxic waste, basically huffing poisonous fumes, and then all the drugs, everything burned their brains out, they're just like, this place sucks. The money sucks. The Mercedes sucks. The people are empty. This is soulless. So all the Hollywood people fleeing themselves ran to Canada and Texas and Tennessee and Florida and everywhere else. And so people figured out, oh my God.
Oh my God.
What the fuck is he even talking about?
What he's talking about are tax incentives. That's what he's talking about. So like
all for productions, where they move production to like Atlanta or Canada or Australia, New Zealand.
Because it's like, I mean, the first 6 seasons of fucking X-Files were all shot in Vancouver, British Columbia. Then it moved its production to LA. So many shows, most of the CW shows are shot in Vancouver, British Columbia.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up too.
You know, like The Walking Dead and a lot of those shows out there, a lot of AMC shows are filmed in Atlanta area. You have
Marvel movies shot in Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta and North Carolina are pretty big for that as well. You know, I mean, not a lot is filmed in LA anymore because of the cost of production, because there was a whole mess with the state on the tax exemptions or the tax rebates that would come on in, whereas Louisiana, Georgia, Arizona, and a number of other states offered fantastic tax exemptions or rebates, which would allow these companies to save an obscene amount of money by filming in those states. This is the thing. This is like, he's talking about this, like there's this massive exodus because of some like woke culture war bullshit, when in reality it is just fiscal choices.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like, this is the world that like I fucking lived in. So it's like, oh my God, fucking kill me.
Yeah. By the way, I was gonna ask a question. It's a stupid question, but whose bald head is shinier, Asshole's or Choden's?
I'm gonna go with Choden.
Yeah, Choden's bald head is glistening, man.
Yeah,
that is.
He polished it for King Jones. You know?
Yeah, he sat there like, oh, I gotta get ready for the stream. Starts polishing his big old bald head.
Dan here says, nobody on FNT can understand Alex Jones.
Maybe that's why they didn't push him, because like we have no idea what the fuck.
I don't think anyone on that panel is smart enough to understand. Yeah, they're not. Like, they don't want, like, Gary. You know, like, every time I see him, he looks more and more deranged. Jeremy just wants the money. Heel doesn't actually care. Garrett doesn't actually care. Ryan is a true believer, but like even then, he has barely said anything this entire time.
I think Ryan and Odin truly believe Alex Jones.
Yeah, probably. So there's that. But let's keep going here.
This is poison. This isn't good. This was used to make us vapid and stupid and very, very shallow. It didn't just die. It became like a negative commodity, like a rotting corpse in your living room. And now it's this reanimated, stinking zombie walking around crapping on itself, demanding, I love you, come back. I give you a shot. I saved you with what I released from Wuhan. Brains. This is this soulless thing lashing out, trying to suck us like a giant squid into its belly. And now its own tech people are like, we're going to spy on everybody's iPhones and their photos, and they're looking at ours, and they're making us give them our iPhone. Is he talking about?
He's talking about Apple and that announcement that Apple was going to be running an algorithm that would search through people's phones that were the footage uploaded to the iCloud, not actually what's on people's phones, what have been uploaded to the iCloud, trying to determine and identify child pornography. That's what he's referring to. So
like a tracking system.
So it's not like going into your phone and looking to see what's on your phone. It's what's been uploaded to the iCloud, because the iCloud is owned by Apple. You have access to it, but they still own it. And that's also how the fappening happened. The fappening was when they, the Fishers were able to get in there and trick the assistants of these celebrities to basically get them to give them their password or click on a phishing site to get their password. And from there, they found all the photos that had been uploaded to the iCloud. Because here's the thing, in many instances, a lot of people don't realize that your phone will auto archive. Like if you have an Android connected to a Google Photo in your email, it will auto upload all your photos to Google Photo, including videos. And you may not be aware of that. So it's like, this happens all the time. And this is what he's referring to. But again, he's trying to tie it into like Hollywood and the tech industry. Yeah, sure. The two have a connection, but there's no actual like metric of connection from what he's saying that makes any sense. And that's
well, it's hard. It's so hard to understand and piece together when he's talking about fucking giant squids and zombies and all this. It's like, I know it's Alex Jones, but it's like, fuck, dude, it's like a puzzle piece in your brain.
Yeah, you're trying to.
How he's saying
he's really good at it too, because he talks so fast that a lot of people like it's just going to run over them. Like you can tell the quarterings, like, I don't know what's being said right now. Odin is thinking about like all the children he's going to indoctrinate in his class. Ryan is just really thinking probably about his penis and like how he misses it.
You know what I was just wondering, this is kind of silly, but I was like, thinking about, I wonder how much his voice plays into people taking him seriously, just the sound, the graveliness, deepness. Like if he had just like a really high, weird voice and was saying all this exact same shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Hi, my name is Alex Jones. I'm going to talk to you about the globalists.
The globalists.
No, it's true. It's true. In American culture specifically, like we have a thing where if somebody speaks like with like a British accent, right? Like a more kind of like a posh British accent, we view that as actually being intelligent. Like we listen for that dialect and we hear that and we go, oh, this person is clearly an expert, because how often in our media do they bring on someone who has like a British accent and they're like, today we're going to be talking about this particular thing. And if you listen to any kind of David Attenborough documentary, you kind of equate all of that with like someone being an authority on a subject. So we kind of subconsciously attribute that, at least in my opinion, the dialect to that. But if someone's got like a deep South accent, we don't really pay them a lot of attention, right? Like if someone's out there saying, and they're like, let's say there's a gigantic meteor that's going to come to Earth, and you've got like dueling TV stations, and like you go to Fox and it's like they have a Southern person. It's like, dang old meteor going to be coming out of the sky, kill us all 5 days, right? And you're like, okay, go back to your fucking moonshine, hillbilly, But then you cut over to the other channel and there's a British guy. He's like, yes, due to our calculations, there's going to be a massive meteor heading towards Earth in 5 days, and we're all going to die. People are like, holy shit, like, because it's articulate and it sounds smart and people want to listen to it. So it is all about inflection, right? If someone talks and they're boring, very flat, very monotone, you don't want to. I mean, maybe NPR, but fuck, right? It's like, and I like NPR, but even then I get a little bit kind of, all right, guys, amp it up a bit. But Alex Jones comes in and he fucking hits it like a wrecking ball. And he's just like, oh, fucking zombies, and then if he's ever caught into a situation where he's backed into a corner or he can't think of something to say, his default is to just overperform and overreact. And that's what they like. They like it when Alex Jones has his outbursts, because that's what he's most known for. Like that's when if they watch the Alex Jones clips and they're the funniest, because it's like him always having an outburst. And here he's playing to this group of mongoloid idiots who are listening to him without ever offering 1 ounce of pushback. They're all in agreement with it 100%. And he's like, okay, well, I have domination over these people. I now have control over them entirely. I can say whatever I want. No one is going to say anything back to me on it. No one is going to question it. And I can get crazier and crazier and crazier. And the crazier that he gets, the less likely it is for them to actually say anything. But it's only after he left did they go like, well, yeah, I mean, I would disagree with him on this or whatever. But it's like they can't say it while he's there because they are afraid of him.
Yeah, I've never seen like 8 dudes being cucked at once before like this. So,
I mean, I'm sure there's like Pornhub videos that are like that too. But it's just, I just think of it like, yeah, like eight poor little white boys. You ever see the porno cover? It's like poor little white boy, and it's like the white, like the little twink dude on the couch, and it's like 8 black guys behind him.
Yeah,
it's it's this but squared, so it's a lot. It's a lot. Anyway, yeah. And Danny here says no comments back. Exactly, they're not saying anything. Like, oh, look at this. I love this here. Do you have an actual counterpoint to what I'm saying, Clasher, or are you just going to talk about the view count? Because I'm sorry that doesn't really apply.
Yeah, I know. It's just so funny. All these people just coming in and talking about, no, the vaccines are BS, bro, or you only got 150 viewers, bro.
My favorite thing about that was yesterday when Biden came out and he BTFO'd Fox News. And he's just like, a lot of major companies are out there requiring vaccines, like Google and Apple and Amazon and even Fox News.
Yeah.
And then all these grifters on like all these fucking right wingers on Twitter were just like, no, what do you mean Tucker is vaxxed? What do you mean? Even Hannity recently has come out and said, get the vaccine. Hannity following Tucker with his ever dwindling audience base is coming out to like, yeah, get the vaccine, like Hannity of all fucking people. That's just the craziest shit to me. It's fucking nuts. It's nuts. All right, let's keep going with this clip. I don't know where it's going to end, but we're going to go as far as we can take it.
me about my naked wife and my camera roll. Well, wait, I thought I was supposed to be the ruling class. I was supposed to be the movie star. And now they all realize it's empty, total crap, ladies and gentlemen. There's nothing there, and it's not just a zero. Hollywood is a negative, like trash you've got to pay to get rid of. And so it's lashing out with the Great Reset to collapse us and gaslight us and turn us.
Ah, there it is. You guys hear that? The Great Reset?
Yeah, he was talking about this, the Great Reset, the New World Order.
Yeah, this is all QAnon shit. It's all QAnon shit. So it's just it's all coded language. And I guarantee you, like, none of these guys know what that is. Because they are literally playing with forces they don't. Maybe Gary gets it.
Yeah, I think Gary and Odin might, to be honest. But
Odin, I would say, dabbles in some Q. He probably would shares anti-vax shit on Facebook. Like Lord Jesus will protect me. Real Logan here says Alex Jones is awesome. He gets a lot right. No, he doesn't. Oh yeah, that was Sports University. As Dane. I know. I see the comments here from people that are all great. What is this here? Someone said, if you're so confident, no, wait, hold on. Is that one I want to look at? If you're so confident with vaccines and you took them, why the hell are y'all nervous? I want more people to get vaccinated because I want more people to be safe from this thing. Sorry. I have 2 kids and they're not old enough to get the vaccine. So I want to make sure other people that are around me are also, because I can still get it. It just is not going to impact me as much. That's the whole point. The vaccine doesn't keep you from getting it. It just keeps you the fuck alive, right? In many instances. And that, of course, is like, even AZ at one point made a comment about the vaccine. Where he's like, oh, but you're not supposed to get it. Like, what's going on? And it's like, you don't understand fucking science, you bald bitch. So that's really what it boils down to is just, it's not, it's
the Great Reset a real thing, by the way. I see a comment there. Someone saying that the Great Reset is a real thing now. Is it a real thing? I don't think so.
It's not a real thing. The Great Reset is essentially, it's something that has been said before, right? It's kind of like, it's something saying like the capitalism needs a Great Reset. Capitalism doesn't need a Great Reset. It does need to be reined the fuck in. And here's the thing when it comes to all these like pro MAGA capitalists and shit, look to see like who has the companies and where those jobs are going and where that money is going. And if it's not to you and it's out of the country, then you should maybe want to, I don't know, like not support that sort of thing to bring those jobs back. So that's kind of, again, and that has a lot to do with all this stuff. It is, the Build Back Better is one of the, no, it's not. Shut up, dude. That's Biden, that's Build Back Better is an infrastructure thing, which is something we vastly, desperately need.
Yep.
When there's that, hold on, name me another vaccine you got to take multiple times within a year. We're dealing with a once in a century pandemic where they're trying to figure it out in rapid time. And by the way, I just got a flu shot yesterday, and I'm going to be getting the pneumonia vaccine. I'm ready for an update on that one here pretty soon. In the next couple of years, I got to get another Tdap. You know what? These are things you have to do sometimes. So like you want to go to college, you got to get vaccinated. You want to take your kid to school, your kid's got to get vaccinated.
Yep, they keep your vaccine records for a reason. They want to make sure you have these things. They won't even let you go on campus or like attend public school without them. So
I feel like Clashers World's just doing like copy pasta from somebody's anti-vax Facebook group or something.
There we go. I'm just gonna get rid of them. So
yeah, I don't fault you for that. I'm gonna take it easy, man. I'm gonna go head off for now. It was cool joining you though.
Yeah, man, I know. Sorry, I know you've been kind of quiet. This thing's pretty nuts.
Oh no, it's absolutely fucking insane. But it's been interesting to watch unfold over the course of today. But thanks for having me on, dude. I appreciate it.
All right, get some sleep, man. We'll talk again soon.
All right, good night, all.
All right,
see ya.
See ya. Okay, let's get back into this.
It's all around. So as soon as their image machine and as soon as they being in love with themselves finally died, it was dangerous because that was their identity. Now they went, well, screw it. We have these battle plans to deindustrialize or release a bioweapon and start killing everybody. We never really went along with this, but actually, since they don't love us anymore, and since we can't mesmerize them, let's just wreck everything and bring them down with us.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
It sure seems like, you know what's interesting?
I love it. I love it.
If you look
that's
at
the best answer possible. And
was that an answer?
No,
it's the best answer because he yelled it really loud.
Yeah, it's the best answer because it was so incoherent and entertaining that everyone's going to clip it.
It's just I know I don't get that at all. Real quick here, Quackmire with an $8 Australian. Thank you, man. I responded to you on Twitter about inflation. I think you should have a look at it. No hate, just trying to have a discussion. I can take a look at it later. Look, when I talk about inflation, I'm talking like only about the box office. That's all I'm talking about when it comes to how the box office is reported. That's it. I'm not saying that inflation doesn't exist or that it's not a necessary thing when looking at like market trends and things like that. I'm only talking about from how we report the box office for movies. One industry.
Yeah. Just one industry, one little subsection.
One thing
of how we
about
look
that.
at inflation,
And
yeah.
Exactly. That's all I'm saying is. And by the way, just as the inflation thing goes around, if people said that, and I mentioned this last night too, or the other night too, like Gone with the Wind, right? Number one movie of all time if you account for inflation. Actually, Avatar is still the number one movie of all time if you adjust for inflation. It actually goes up an additional, yes, from $2009, even though it came out at the end of 2009. So you should really look at it from $2010, but whatever. If by $2009 to 2021, it has increased by roughly about, I think it goes from 2.8 to like 3.5 almost. So it goes up a considerable amount, actually, over $500 million. And so that putting it above Gone with the Wind. So again, if you're but no one argues it from that point, and I'm pretty sure even eventually like Endgame will potentially do the same thing. It will go up that amount, and it's only been a couple years. So we don't, the argument is interesting. It's effectively like it's trying to argue an objective truth with a subjective fact. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And
with factors that are kind of like unquantifiable in many cases, like you're saying, because the inflation amount is going to adjust.
Yeah.
And it's if they were arguing something like in favor of a different point that they were trying to make, and it was not convenient to include inflation or whatever X factor that they would completely dismiss that factor, right? But
yeah, I'm just saying it's like that's how it's viewed. And even last night, I brought up a Variety article, and they even talked about how much money the first Halloween had made, and then in parentheses it said unadjusted for inflation, because they never are, because it's not a thing. It's just not a thing. But again, I've been dealing with people now for like the last week that are just like, I mean, I understand Quackmare. I'm not trying to fight you, brother, man. I would love to have I like having these conversations, but on this subject, I'm right. And on this subject. So it's not an all-encompassing thing, as many people tried to say, but on this subject. Anyway, thank you for that. And then Simon here, $2, man, thank you, says, can't wait for Fandom Menace guest next, David Icke. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Realistically, they might also get David Duke, so.
Well, that could be fascinating here. Danny asks, will the Nerdrotic channel get taken down? I know people were tagging Team YouTube with it today. And then I know, like, someone, I guarantee you, the lefty channels, I know some lefty channels that have recorded it and that are already looking into it, and they're putting together something very quick while the iron is hot, sort of thing. And that's going to draw a lot of attention. And if there ends up being, like, let's say a Daily Beast article or Right Wing Watch or Wall Street Journal or whatever, you're going to see there being like a massive blowback from certain areas. And this is going to spread. This is like some pretty crazy shit. It's going to get clipped out. Alex Jones being Alex Jones, and not one of these silent circus seals actually barking anything in response. So that's going to be what happens. Now, for the fucking record, because I have to say it, no, I'm not flagging anything, nor am I reporting anything. I'm just laughing at it. That's it. Nor do I recommend you guys do that. I just have to say that as a disclaimer, because people out there are going to try to say, if it goes down, well, Jarbo did it, because that's already popped up quite a bit tonight, and people can suck my dick. Anyway.
Is it just me, or does this seem like a turning point for these guys? You know what I mean? Like, no telling where it's going to go, really, but like this feels like a pretty big moment.
Well, when I made my video on this, I said that this is the beginning of the end. This is the start of the third act, right? This is the crescendo on a terrible couple of weeks, terrible year, I believe they've had, honestly, with the Shang-Chi thing, with the failure to go after Marvel, and just like the general fact that people are starting to like wake up to them and make fun of them more openly. I truly believe this is the beginning of the end. it's going to be slow. It's going to be a very slow process, but this is the kind of thing that's like, it doesn't help them. You know, I think it does more to hurt than help.
So let me ask this: does anybody think that maybe that they thought that this was a smart move, kind of in a response to realizing that they'd taken a lot of L's, and like, you know what I mean? Like maybe they thought this would help get them back in, or at least get them a new audience, if not get their, get people back on their side or whatever.
I think so, but I also believe that it depends on how smart they're playing at it, and I don't know how smart these guys really are. If they're playing 4D chess, then they could be doing it like, let's go out on YouTube in a blaze of glory. Let's give them a reason to go out and basically find a way to get kicked off YouTube so that we can cry and play the victim card of YouTube deplatforming us and grow our base. I have a theory. I think because this happened to Mr. Medicare, I believe, a couple of years ago. He got completely fucked by YouTube monetarily speaking. They denied his monetization, and then they kept all of the money that he had coming in that month, which is like a few grand, I think like $4,000 or something, and they kept it. Now, if they go after Gary and they take it down, then they might keep the money that he made tonight, because this was a money-making endeavor. Obviously, we're talking multiple $100 super chats. And this is all about that. And so, again, if more people, this happened to Ethan Ralph with the Kill Stream back in October 2018. They did a thing called the Heal Stream, where they had noted Holocaust denier on there to deny the Holocaust, pretty much, because, that's his thing. Wall Street Journal did an article about it and ended up getting the entire channel nuked. And that was 3 years ago almost. Yeah, almost. So it's like, this is not an uncommon thing. So if you're going to go out there and push those boundaries to the levels of which they seem to be doing today, they either have to be fully aware of what the outcome could be, or just ridiculously fucking ignorant and ballsy. And I don't know which one it is.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
It's difficult to tell.
Very hard to tell.
So let's I just want to go maybe another couple minutes and just see what's because I know they talk about the pedophile shit. I just don't know where. It's just look at this here. They were on for 5 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think Alex is only on for like an hour and a half. So
yeah, he's okay. So Jeremy dipped out right about there. All right, we'll skip ahead by a few and see what's up.
Cramming tampons in your mouth, that's declassified. That's what they do.
What a great place to jump into,
this is the
man.
type of stuff that goes on. It's just all just Satanism. They're just training their people to engage in Satanism. But
look at Odin.
A ritual covered.
I hear Satanism's like, hell yeah, brother.
And all of this, and it's feminist to do it, and the torturers are almost all women. So again, this is all the externalization of their method, when really they're just pedophile devil worshippers that like to rape and murder people.
You're right. So you're absolutely right about Sundance, because Sterling Van Wagenen, he was arrested for and jailed for child abuse
twice.
Wow. Yeah. And that's the co-founder of the Sundance Festival.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I remember that.
That's look, what I'm telling you, it's imagine they've all used the drugs, they've all had the supermodels, none of it, and they just get into total darkness and just, what do I get to be a thrill? Okay, I'll rape an 8-year-old, and then that's who they are. I mean, how many Disney executives and Disney directors are given children film directing who have been convicted of raping 10-year-old boys, 7-year-old boys? I mean, it's on record. Look it up.
Now, what he's referring to, if I recall correctly, is the movie Powder. And the movie Powder was a Disney movie. The director of that film, whose name I forget, he was convicted of sexually assaulting a young boy back in the late 80s. And he did get out of prison, and he ended up getting the job. Disney was not aware of the
Victor Salva, by the way.
Victor Salva, thank you. That Disney was not aware of his prior conviction when production began. They became aware of it, I believe, during production, and then took precautions, because they should have fired him. Like, there's no question about that. Like, you find that out, you get rid of that guy, you bring in a replacement, right? Like anything. But that's what it is. That's what he's referring to. And it was like, and the only thing he's done since then is like Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2, I think. So it's not like Disney executives are, and there just recently there were Disneyland employees who were busted for something, but they weren't high level. And people were trying to argue the headline of Disney, Disney employees busted for all this and, whatever.
Well, I mean, by their logic, I just covered a guy a while back with Comicsgate who got busted in Utah for like 3,000 CP images that he downloaded or whatever. And he's like, was a pretty prominent guy in Comicsgate. So,
oh, wow. I didn't hear about that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I found some image. I'm just saying by their logic, like if this person that's tangentially connected to this, does that mean that everybody's, it doesn't make any fucking sense.
No, it's an argument that look, people who hurt kids,
Oh, is that just me or was that Matt breaking up?
I guess it was just Matt. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you. Yeah, we lost Matt. Always happens on StreamYards eventually. You get like the hour 40, 2 hour marks, like StreamYards like, nope, cutting you out.
Okay, I should be back now.
Yeah, you're good.
So yeah, all right. Wait, look, we made it like nearly 2 hours. All right, so there's definitely that.
Deep State trying to cut you off.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're coming at me, boys. They're trying to take me down.
Yeah, Alex Jones was right.
About what? And he's talking about, if he's just talking about like this guy again, provide me with examples. All right. Like provide me with examples. That's what I want. That's what I want.
He can't though, because I don't think he has the ability to like think off the cuff. Like really like pull some deep research knowledge.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, again, the whole thing with Powder, I think is what you're talking about, Victor Salva. I think that's it. But again, it's like he kind of like so quickly goes over it, and it's just meant to be this talking point that people are going to go, yeah. There are bad people out there, and if you find them, kick them out, turn them in. You know what I mean? Like when I was in Gamergate, we were always accused of being all these terrible things, but when it turned out, a lot of people on that side were, doing a lot of the crap that they were accusing us of. So there is a lot of projection, but the level of projection that the Fandom Menace has been espousing recently puts me on that same mindset that these guys are the ones who you're going to find out some shit about down the road. I'm just saying that's my take on it. Andrew here says he may be referring to the film An Open Secret. Yeah, maybe. Wasn't that who did the Open Secret one? That was, was that the, I remember, I just want to make sure I'm right about that one. Okay. That was a documentary from 2014. The documentary follows the stories of 5 former child actors who were sexually abused by multiple predators. Much of the film focuses on Mark Collins Rector, subsequently convicted of child sexual abuse, who co-owned and operated a digital entertainment network with Brock Pierce, owning a minor share. The film makes multiple references to director Bryan Singer, who was allegedly at some of these parties, but does not detail allegations against him. A lawsuit alleging Singer sexually abused Michael Egan as an underage boy was withdrawn during the production of the film. As a result, the film only details allegations made by persons appearing to willing to appear on camera. And so again, it says here, among the persons interviewed is Vanity Fair journalist John Connolly, who states that an article on pedophilia in Hollywood was dropped at the last minute by Details magazine. Look, there is shit in Hollywood that is bad.
100%. I mean, look at the Kevin Spacey stuff too.
Yeah, that's a whole fucking weird thing. But it's not like
the rumors about Dan Snyder, which they talk about in the stream later too.
Yeah, the whole thing with Dan Snyder's that's crazy too. Even though there's been no actual no public, there's been allegations made, but generally speaking, it's from like anonymous people, and there's been no charges filed. There's been no investigation opened, as far as I'm aware. It's all of this stuff where it just becomes hyperbole, and you don't know what's real or what's not, and they don't care. These guys, they would do they would cover Dan Schneider, they would cover all that shit. They don't care about any kind of factual evidence, because it doesn't suit their narrative. And the thing is, like on YouTube, that kind of behavior is very much rewarded. Look at the tea commentary community, right? The people in the tea channels who cover makeup, and they cover bloggers. I mean, they just make up like literally the wildest accusations that they can, because they know that for the most part, they can operate under like a tabloid perspective, and it's covered under free speech. Now, all of these guys, even Alex Jones, are protected by free speech 100% from being prosecuted by the government. YouTube, on the other hand, might decide this is a bit too spicy for television and boot you the fuck off.
Well, the thing that pisses me off about the, like, you know, just the wild and vague, you know, pedo claims and everything is that you're right. There absolutely are terrible fucking things that have been done and are continuing to be done to children in Hollywood and all kinds of industries. But the way that these guys go about talking about this stuff dilutes it to a point where there's, you know what I mean? Nobody's taking the actual individual incidents seriously, because it's just becomes this ominous, vague, ubiquitous, everybody's a pedo kind of thing. And that, in my mind, that makes it fucking harder to address the issue.
Yeah, well, that's the whole part of it too. And they like that kind of conflation because of the confusion. It gives them a smokescreen to where they can come out and speak in generalities. You know, that's the whole point, is like, that's why I like to ask for specific examples, because we can argue the merits of a specific example, right? If I have an idea and you have an idea and you come at it with something that I can't refute and it opens my eyes to something, then we can at least have a discussion about that. A lot of these guys, they never operate in that level of faith, that level of good faith. So they always just go like, oh, this is what and a lot of these guys, they read from like Bounding Into Comics, which is one of their allies. So they read propaganda written by a guy who's terrible at his job, terrible at journalism.
Terrible websites, terribly written articles that are full of agenda and written from an agenda.
And I mean, those websites almost exist almost exclusively to run with these types of narratives and shit, you know? So it's all just a feedback loop. It's fucking absurd.
Well, and then they also like Bounding Into Comics and like Cosmic News will like run Doomcock scoops. You know what I mean? So it's like they'll run those as articles and they give it an air of legitimacy. And that's ultimately what Alex Jones is doing by coming here, is giving all of these guys a level of legitimacy within his crazy ass situation.
It's solidifying the conspiratorial mindset online, basically.
Oh yeah. So let's go for, again, like let's do like till like 140. We'll see what they say.
Dozens of them. This is an army of pedophiles.
Yeah, people that work at Disney, people that work at Nickelodeon that are doing these kids' TV shows that are continuing to put these like foot fetish jokes in there with these teenagers. Like, that's legitimately happening. That's recorded.
See, that's the Dan Schneider reference right there. Dan Schneider has been out of Disney since, I believe, 2018.
Oh, you mean Nickelodeon?
Sorry, yeah, Nickelodeon since about 2018. He's been out, hasn't done anything with kids. And so that's not currently happening. And even then, there's been no public allegations that have been made against him. It's all been done through like backwater channels or small YouTube streams. Like, I think it was like Revenge of the Sis or something, back before they became Nightwave or whatever the fuck they are. I don't know what they are now. But there was I've seen a bunch of those videos back then. And even it's like, yeah, there's stuff here that's suspicious. Go to the fucking cops. File a report. Get it on record. You know what I mean? Like, if you're making these claims behind the scenes, then go out and I'm not saying you have to do it publicly. You can file a complaint privately and they can put you in there as like a Jane or a John Doe to protect your identity. I'm not saying dox yourself, but at least go through the proper channels of trying to seek justice. You never really see that because it comes across to me like somebody's like fishing for a payday. And then again, it gets regurgitated by, human Beavis here. And they try to like run it where it's like this, oh, it's happening right now. It's happening with kids. It's all of this narrative that is easily debunkable, but they don't ever pay the fuck attention. So it becomes this annoying thing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But you can look at that shit. And, Alex, you're 100% right when they want to create anger. Not what people accuse us of, you just want to be angry at Star Wars or whatever. They're doing it legitimately by disappearing the middle class. When you see inflation, when you see the cost of goods right now, you think to yourself, how can they be this stupid to keep spending this money they don't have? That's what it's going to lead to.
Well,
it's on purpose.
Yeah. Globalists are at war with stable humans. They're at war with the American system because people will want freedom versus the globalist system.
Yeah, and look at Netflix and Netflix and Cuties.
There we go.
The producer said he interviewed 600 fucking girls for it.
They videoed everyone.
And then it's a very specific. Coincidentally enough, it was the very final one that came through. And then Netflix defended that and they've defended it. And anyone that defends Cuties is going to go fuck themselves. And then if you saw behind the scenes footage of that, which they actually put up, you got these girls who were in it fucking crying their eyes out doing that fucking film, crying their fucking eyes out. and having the woman who wrote the story like consoling them. And you got to really ask yourself, what the fuck is going on there?
Where did the 500 audition tapes go?
Yeah.
They call it lesser magic, the Satanist, and it's a system. If they do it in your face, they get like double bonus powers, like when Mario or Luigi gets the mushroom. And so they get bonus points like a video game. If they show you the abuse openly and flaunt it, they get more power.
Yeah. Jeremy's smiling because Alex made a fucking Nintendo reference, a Mario joke.
Well, that's what I would expect from someone who hasn't graduated high school.
Yeah, I think Cuties is fucking disgusting. I don't support that movie. I think it's abhorrent, but like, of course they pull that example, you know, 'cause it's the obvious one, you know, but
yeah, no, I fuck that movie. Like,
no, fuck that movie. Yeah,
like I absolutely have not supported it. Someone told me the other day that I supported Cuties. Like I was out there defending it. I'm like, no. I mean, like, does it have a right to exist? Maybe. I haven't seen it. I've seen the clip that was making its way around Twitter, and I was like, that's enough for me. Cool. But
when that dropped on Twitter, I wanted to fucking puke. I was disgusted.
I honest to God, like I don't even like fucking like I hate cheerleaders, like the high school and middle school cheerleaders, because my sister used to be in that, and so like they would, you know, you go to these competitions and it's just like it feels like that's ogling and like it's gross. Like I was like, this is gross. I don't like any of that shit. Like that's me personally. But
yeah, like the TLC beauty pageant with the little girls too. That shit's gross too. I fucking hate that.
Like yeah, and then like TLC and exploitation, they go to hand. Why do they go after fucking like Here Comes Honey Boo Boo? The exploitation of a little fucking 11-year-old. What, she's like 6 at the time, and Alana is now, she just turned like 14 or some shit like that. What about why not getting mad at those reality TV people that fucking push that shit on kids? You know, that glorify those pageants where parents pump their children full of sugar and they put them in sexually revealing outfits and make them do dances when they're 5 or 6 years old. Why don't they go after like that's an actual fucking thing? That's an actual fucking thing. Like I don't like that. Like my daughters, I ain't gonna go anywhere near that shit. So that's my hardcore.
No, I
dad take.
fucking agree. That shit's disgusting.
But and I don't know if you got kids, Dane, but
I'm here. I do, and I haven't seen Cuties, and yeah, the fucking trailer. I didn't even make it like 20 seconds into it.
Yeah.
But from what I've read, the creator says, the writer, director, whatever, she says that this was based on her childhood, and that she sees like, so this is real shit that really happens. The movie on its own, I don't know, you know, it's fucking tasteless looking to me. From what I've seen, it seems fucking tasteless and kind of fucked up. But at the same time, the creator claims that she was trying to draw attention to that this really happens, that the little kids are exploited this way, and even worse. You know what I mean? And I've had cousins and stuff that were part of like the pageant circuit and stuff like that since they were little kids. And there's some, you know, I mean, I didn't see anything explicitly fucked up happening, but I know that those kids are exploited, and just the superficiality of it, and you know, forcing them to like, you know, wear bathing suits on stage and crap like that to be judged. It's kind of fucked up when you think about it.
Yeah,
it's really fucked up.
And the question is like, well, if you're trying to make a commentary on child exploitation being bad, then why are you going to such extreme measures where you're having fucking these little girls crying and being so upset, and basically you've ruined their lives forever? Because like Netflix is like, you know, giant digital platform. Anyone can watch that and see the way their bodies are being presented. It's just fucking disgusting. It's fucking gross.
Cuties is something I think the left and the right can go, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
That's okay. We all agree on that point. At least we're all coming at it from the base element of let's not fuck with kids. That's a good thing. But again, it's like that was a French-made movie, and their approach to sexuality in France is way different and way less prudish than we are here. So that's kind of the whole aspect of it here. Jack here with $2 spent says, can't wait to see TFM defend Alex Jones. They've already done it by having him on. McLeod here says, as well as a lot of themes of hypersexualization of young girls through social media, influencers, and Photoshop. I completely agree. I think that's a big problem as well. The standard of beauty that are put on young girls through influencers and Instagram and all this other shit, I think it gives them very negative body imagery, and they feel like they have to be and act a certain way in order to fit in. And that's not anything new. You know, there's a line here that Jeremy had said, like, I forget, it was Quartering. I made a comment at some point about how like now like all of these kids, they want to be like what they see on TV, and that he acted like that was something new. And I'm like,
right.
Have you not like ever watched anything about the Beatles back in the fucking 60s? Like, have you never watched like how influential the Beatles were when they were, you know, when your parents were kids and going to see them in concert and shit? Like, people dressed like them, talked like them, had the same haircuts as them. I mean, like, it was a massive fad. Fads are not anything new at all. And it's very generational. You know what I mean? Like, when I was a kid, it was all about like the Vanilla Ice kind of haircut style thing where you had like them kind of like, you know, carve in like a lightning bolt in the side of your head. Because it was like right past the 80s.
Yeah, like everyone adopted the cultural attributes that were present in entertainment, whether it be clothing, hairstyles, etc. Just
it's not like it's not a new thing, but they're acting like it's this new thing, and it's like, how closeted were you? How closeted were you as kids? How closed off and controlled were your lives to not understand like this generational thing is very much just that. You know, pop culture very much dictates what trends are set. Go watch the fucking movie Josie and the Pussycats. My God.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just saying. No, have you guys ever seen Josie and the Pussycats?
It's been a long time since I watched it.
That whole movie is about product placement and controlling the trends. You know, that's what the whole movie's about. It's all about marketing and merchandising and money. That's what the whole thing is about. But they do it in an overly satirical way, but it still sends a very good. I love Josie and the Pussycats. That movie's fantastic.
Damn, I'll have to check it out.
It's great.
I mentioned you did in South Park, doing an episode about Photoshop and like body image with girls too.
That would be the
Hobbit.
Paris Hilton episode, wasn't it?
No, I think it's called The Hobbit, wasn't it?
I remember
Butters.
Maybe because I remember the Paris Hilton episode had all the girls get the Paris Hilton sex tape creator, right? Or like the collection, and except for Wendy Testerberger. Wendy didn't want to do it, but she felt pressured by everybody to go and buy like the Paris Hilton thing, where Paris was like, you know, like, oh, here's how to to dress like me, act like me.
Spoiled whore play kid or something.
I
just remember because there's like the episode where like the ugly girl in school asks Butters out and he says no, and then like one of the girls think was Wendy does the Photoshop of her and everyone thinks she's like super hot and everyone's like pining over her. And then I could have sworn there was an episode a while back.
You know, I am pretty sure that it's an episode. I'm pretty sure it's one of those things where it's going to be funny to go back. I do need to do a South Park rewatch personally, but all right, let's try to finish up this because now he's talking about Satanists, and I kind of want to see where this goes.
Yeah, Odin just smiling.
Because
like,
this is where you start seeing Rasputin Jr. getting a hard on.
Sucking tampons or something like that a minute ago. I was curious where that came from. But
I don't know. I don't know. But let's always forward, never back. All right, like the Russians in World War II. Let's go.
It's disgusting. And one thing that, you know, I think they've been rather successful at for the most part is having people fear talking to you. And that's one thing that I think we weren't going to allow happen, because I think that no one has to believe Alex Jones, but he has a right to be heard. And I think that's just the bottom line here. And if you fear his words, he's probably saying something that's hitting close to home. That's
and even
the way
Bill
I've
Maher
always
said
looked
that,
at it.
and I appreciate Bill Maher saying, "Hey, everybody gets to talk, including Alex Jones." Because what's dangerous is I've learned being deplatformed off of everything but InfoWars.com, NewsWars.com, Band.video, which has millions of people a day that come to it, and then they share it out, and then people are like emissaries or ambassadors, you know, to get it out. They choose what to show of you in the mainstream media, or they lie about what you've said, and then you don't get to respond. And so they had the Wall Street Journal, which you think is respected. It's one of the worst. It's a hit job. They wrote an article saying Alex Jones says nobody died at the name of that place in Connecticut. I won't even say it.
Yeah.
Alex Jones loses suit for writing book Nobody Died at SH. And then it just says I lost a suit. And I went to the Wall Street Journal with lawyers and I said, retract this. I didn't write this book. I didn't lose a suit. They said, sue us. So folks, believe me, you think they're lying. When you're personally like a dark horse, quote, celebrity, you know, chew toy of the New World Order, they literally edit and change and lie and then exercise to see with all their minions to see how much can we get our newsrooms to lie, but it's only on Alex Jones. So they basically...
Doesn't that sound like all those guys coordinating their attacks on Shang-Chi, Mandalorian, Star Wars, Marvel, right?
Yeah.
A little familiar? A little bit of that. A little bit of that
content with the exact same talking points and the exact same, arguments. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go on that one. It's look, you can. It's all a grift. And the thing is, all the people here they're too dumb to realize it. That's what it is. They're just like Gary is 100% in. Like he is hard as a rock listening to Alex Jones talk, and Odin's like, yes, the children, they will be mine. I will indoctrinate them into the Catholic faith, and then lose them somehow in Mexico. Anyway, I'm kidding. I really don't like Odin.
I don't know. I feel like Jeremy keeps looking like he's having like a self-aware moment or something.
Well, yeah, Jeremy. So we'll just kind of dip to the part where Jeremy's gotta go. Is this coming up here? Like he basically just like.
Well, he's deflecting, saying, "You guys are reading too much into this. I was just getting dinner, for God's sakes. Leave me alone."
Yeah. Here's the thing: if you've got what is going to be the biggest stream of the year, the one that's going to break the internet, you've got 17,000, 16,000 people watching, and then all of a sudden you dip out and you're like, I gotta go get dinner. No, you would come on this thing for the whole haul, or at least until Alex Jones is done. You know what I mean? Like this is, and then, but the thing is, you can tell because he released that video during the stream that was saying like, I'm talking to Alex Jones and I'm concerned. Like he was fully aware of the grift. He's fully aware of what could potentially happen. And he's trying to cover his ass in case it gets to be too bad. But I guarantee you that video wasn't scheduled to be posted. Somewhere in this, we could probably time up the exact moment. You could probably watch him actually hit publish. So it was something he did consciously while talking to Alex Jones at probably the first sign of anything bad being said. He wanted to have something there to quote unquote cover his ass. And it's really funny. It is really, really, really funny. So, but let's just jump ahead to the end, and we'll end it after that because like I'm kind of I'm ready to be done with this shit. Let's see what's going on. Oh shit, fuck. All right, hold on, I missed it. There we go.
Is that Laura Chen?
Maybe.
By the way, I don't know why it just made me laugh that he was wearing that Sonic hat. Reminded me of DSP.
Oh yeah, I know.
Well, of course we will eat them. So, and then I did a whole rant about eat your neighbors, and they took it out of context. So,
we love that.
Oh God, that rant about where he's like, I've been sizing up my neighbor. They took it out of context. They played the whole thing.
Oh God.
It's just like the media was playing like the whole thing. It's like they took it out of context. Like, no, it's the whole thing was there, buddy. It's just something stupid he was saying because that's what he likes to do.
Question, I don't mean to interrupt. I forgot the question. I'm being rude here. What was the question again?
How do we stop?
How do we stop it?
We we engage the globalists at their level when they distract us and go, hey, we know you wrote white papers about killing us all. We know why you're doing this. You're scum. You're the worst trash. You were given everything by your parents and their parents. You need to get out of the way. We're going to organize against you now. We're going to have a pro-human future. And yes, it's true. We become slovenly. We become decadent. Yes, it's true. But you've helped grease the skids with Hollywood and all this. And so you need to understand, you try to get rid of us, we're going to make sure you go first. And then they're going to back off. But then we've got to have a real discussion about real sustainability and real technologies and real exploration and making it about human endeavor and real competition where we celebrate leaders and alphas, everybody else, but then we take everybody else with us into the future, but we also crush psychotic predators. We hang them till they're dead. And we have to just get back to survival of the leaders that are going to lead the species forward and set up a system where we don't empower people being weak and pathetic. The globalists help make us weak and pathetic, grease the skids so they can steal the future and move forward and claim the survival of the fittest. Well, that's like saying, blow the planet up so you're the alpha. That's BS. And so that's why we're not the animals. We transcend them. It's
Look at Jeremy.
Bear will come up and smell.
Yeah, you heard that public execution comments like, shit.
If it's a female, he won't eat it. If it's a male, even his own baby, he will eat his own son because he doesn't want the competition. He's not that smart. And that's really the level of these people is they want to kill their competition. So we need to say, well, we deserve to die if we let them kill us. But we're going to rise to the challenge. You want survival of the fittest, we're going to beat you people. And after you've been indicted and tried and found guilty of war crimes, Nuremberg 2.0, we're going to publicly execute your ass.
And then Odin's down there nodding and agreeing.
Say it. You think I make friends with him saying that? I want to legally, lawfully, no violence offensively. I'm going to not do it outside the courts, but we're going to hang these people at Nuremberg too, unless they go the way of Hitler and take cyanide.
Well, you know,
Jeremy.
They're trying to
Look at his
sell us-
face.
They're
It's
trying
like,
to
oh,
sell us,
Jesus.
Yeah, that's-
we got comfortable.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I want to just kind of hear like Gary trying to like justify this a little bit because he's so into it. He is so into it. Like
I was stuck on the guy in the bottom right was like literally like wringing his hands as
oh
was,
yeah.
like, rubbing his hands
Yeah.
together.
That's a Catholic school teacher, right? We talked a bit about the Spanish Inquisition. You know what? Like Catholics have been doing a lot of killing for a long time.
Yeah, this is a guy who claims that he's a servant of God. He's a very hardcore Catholic Christian, very openly homophobic and transphobic because, you know, it's his religious beliefs. You know, that's the kind of guy this is.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty funny. All right, we're gonna go back 10 seconds here. I forgot there's actually like hot commands for this. I want to see what Gary has to say though.
I want to legally, lawfully, no violence offensively. I'm going to not do it outside the courts, but we're going to hang these people at Nuremberg too, unless they go the way of Hitler and take cyanide.
Well, you know, they're trying
No
to
one
sell
wanna follow that.
They're trying to sell us. They're trying to sell
Love
us.
Alex.
We got comfortable and they took advantage of it. We got comfortable and now, you know, they've been pushing boundaries. And I'm seeing stuff I never fucking thought I would see in my country happen in my fucking country. That last night, I never thought I'd hear a speech like that. And the most disappointing part is seeing people rooting that fucking shit on. Dude, this is our freedom. And most people don't even fucking understand what freedom is. Let's be
He's
real.
organizing all the vaccinated that they're the good people and they're the. I didn't die. My friend didn't die of it. The vaccine's totally safe. It's 100% effective, even though that's not true. And I'm going to get those people that killed people. It's so fault of them not taking an unapproved drug. They're the people.
Look at Jeremy.
Let's get them.
Yeah,
Bring
no,
Americans
it's Marxism
on board.
playbook. It's the Marxism playbook, right? You got to have the class
Divide,
warfare in this case,
divide.
vaccinate,
Caste
unvaccinate.
system.
And that Hollywood is going over that, and
Oh
they
my
want to take away our property. You're right. They're already starting to sell like property's so much responsibility. You don't want that. We'll take care of it. For
You'll
you.
own nothing.
You'll have
Yeah.
nothing. You'll own nothing, and you'll love it. That's Klaus Schwab.
Yeah. Well,
I gotta dip, guys.
All right,
You gotta go,
Jeremy.
I gotta grab dinner.
Thanks,
for having me.
buddy.
Alex, I love you, man.
Hey, bud. Have a
Hey,
good
I
one.
want to get all you got. Hey, what are you having for dinner?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Some sandwiches.
Alex knows he's dipping.
He called him out.
See, that's a good.
That's
I'll
pretty
be
bad.
down in Texas in a
I
few
got some
weeks,
nuts, Alex. I got some nuts here if you wanted some KP.
I bring my dinner with me with some.
Chuck 'em over.
Jeremy, what were you saying there? You were telling Alex something.
Oh, it's good.
I said I'll be down in Texas in 3 weeks. I'll try to come down and see you.
100%. I want to get all you guys on the show. I mean,
All right. So that's basically about it. Like there's
Jesus
a lot
Christ,
more.
that got
There's
so
a
bad.
lot more. Like that whole thing goes on for a while, but it's like it's been over 2 hours. We've gone
German
through
was
two
basically
major
like,
clips.
Yeah, German was like, please get me the fuck out of here. I need to get out of here.
Yeah, because that's why I'm telling you, that's why he released that statement. That's why he released that video. It's his attempt at a get out of jail free card. And it's like, you know, I mean, when you've got Alex Jones going off about public executions and shit.
Yeah. It's
and
his
then
eyes were getting wider. He was rubbing his face like he was getting super uncomfortable.
Yeah, and then Odin was like, "This is the Marxist playbook." And they're talking about, they don't want us to own anything anymore, no property anymore.
Hey, I will say this though, that just now was like the only time that I was ever like, "Fuck yeah, Alex Jones." When he called fucking Hambly out, he's like, "I'm calling you on your bullshit. You don't have to go get dinner."
Yeah, like, oh, this guy knows how to make an exit.
Yeah, you could tell Alex is poking at him a little bit.
Yep.
I just, you know, because Jeremy is like, because he doesn't want to risk it. This was a risk. It was all a risk. I think 75 had said here. I saw a comment I wanted to kind of highlight. Oh no, Drewby here, $2, and thank you very much. His body language tells the story. 100%, man.
Yeah,
100%.
He's gonna deflect and say, "No, I didn't feel this way," or "I was just getting dinner. Stop reading too much into it." But like those facial expressions, the way he was looking,
yeah,
that's a little.
Oh yeah, well that was the thing too. Is I was over on Max's stream and I was going at it with Snowdub over his bullshit, and Jeremy was in the chat, and he was like, "Oh, I'm clipping this. It's gonna be really funny." And then like he put out a tweet saying, "Jarbo and Full Meltdown, right? Full Meltdown stream, enjoy." But then he deleted it. Right. Then he deleted it because I was like, I told him, I said, Jeremy, why don't you come on in Max's stream. Let's do it.
I said the same thing too. I kept telling him, get in here, talk to us. I would love to talk to you.
Trying to get ahead of the narrative, right? Like,
yeah,
he knows
and
what it looks like.
Yeah, and there was no answer. He did not want to pop in on Max's stream and talk to us. I kept poking him at the stream chat. He refused to come on, which is fine, you know. I think he might have drank a little too much tonight and stumbled across Max's stream, and then it just took off from there.
It's possible that like someone told him about it or whatever. I don't know, but yeah, either way, I thought it was pretty funny because you can tell he's like, no, I don't want to go on there, because every time he's drunk and he goes on a live stream, he gets wrecked because he can't really handle it. And I was already in a mood. If you listen to that stream, I was already in a mood.
Yeah, you were
going off.
You were in a very foul mood.
Yeah, and so it would not have been probably good for him because I probably would have woke up my whole neighborhood.
I guess ultimately the question to end this off on is like, what's going to be the fallout from this? What is the next step in all this? What does this all mean? You know,
so that is kind of the question. And as we start winding down the stream, you know, because I think this is kind of going to be it for the night. I think. Statistically, but normally in this kind of situation, when someone as inflammatory as Jones comes on and makes the statements that he makes, YouTube is going to have like really no other response but to act.
And there were certain big content creators tagging YouTube social media accounts, informing them of the stream, correct?
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty sure YouTube is fully aware of it. I would argue that it's most likely not gonna, like, the stream probably won't be monetized, obviously. And then I'm pretty sure that there won't be a lot in terms like if YouTube snipes the super chats and takes those away, that's pretty telling. Like if they can
they do something like that?
They can. Yeah, they did that to Medicare a while back when he was talking about I think the beginning of COVID, like this happened last year. He lost out like on monetization, but he got it back. He got it back that you can reapply. And he got it back. So there's that. But Danny here says Fallout, Gary goes or nothing. Maybe. I would say maybe not necessarily Gary going, but Gary maybe losing monetization or losing access to certain features, or maybe not being able to live stream or something like that. 75 here says, oh, please let YouTube do something. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. It all depends. It all depends on if there's going to be an outside force that is going to be kind of digging in on them. Mm-hmm. But I'll say this: earlier this year, you had the Rewriting Ripley article come out.
Yeah.
And that was damning against them, 100% damning against them. And they were very, very, very much trying to dig into those women's lives, find out who they are, dox them, harass them,
discredit and destroy it before it took off.
But the thing is, though, they never really denied what was said because they had the links and they had the evidence to back it up. And I mean, hell, I liked one of the tweets and like that ended up getting around. They're like, oh, Jarbo is like in the tweets. And I'm all like, I thought I did it just to troll him, to be honest with you. Because that shit's fucking hysterical how much they pay attention. But really, you know, this group of people, they're kind of coming to their end. I mean, even John Campia talked about them today.
He did, yeah. That was surprising. He got a donation from a guy who talked about the channels he didn't name drop the specific channels and in the guy asked the question or John himself, but they're talking about channels who built their entire identities around hate and anger, right? And John was really going into it. Basically, I can't remember exactly what he said, but he's basically like calling them out in a way and saying that they're not going to stay relevant. That eventually it will crumble and fall and go away.
Well, and what really got me there was Rob trying to come on in and give his bullshit. I've never seen Robert Meyer Burnett like push that much bullshit before.
It was one of the very rare times I've ever seen Robert kind of
sweat a little bit
and kind of like have to like go on the defense. Because I think he knew what John was saying was what might speak a little too much home to the people he associates with when it comes to Star Trek talk.
Yeah.
But he's basically saying that people use their what was he saying? I can't remember. Like they use their outlet to like talk about things they're passionate about.
And he likes they're not passionate about this though. It's all monetarily driven. And then he's all like, "Oh, but I can learn something and maybe what was it?
He likes hearing different perspectives.
Have empathy, right, with what they're saying or something." And I'm like, "Yeah, but you hang out with heel versus babyface, so and that guy is outright fucking psycho and says some stupid ass shit. So that argument doesn't fly because Rob is fully aware of who these people are." But he still hangs out with them because they hate Star Trek and he hates Star Trek. So it's like common bedfellows, but same concept though. Like after this, I mean, and you could tell at the end of that clip, John knew what Robert was talking about and they didn't go into it. They did not go into it, but you could tell like there was some animosity there.
Well, yeah, I think John said that. I think he said there's some things that you said I agree with, some things I don't, and that's okay. I think it's basically what John Campea said after Rob gave his reply to the question.
Yeah. Drewby here says, Tim Pool had Jones out there last year. As long as they follow the terms of service, they should be able to reapply for Super Chats. Yeah, no. I mean, that's very true. That's definitely very true. But when you're out there saying like spouting that level of COVID disinformation, that might end up being a bridge too far.
Yeah, YouTube's very protective and sensitive when it comes to COVID and COVID disinformation.
Yeah, actually,
I think one important thing to take away from it is the power dynamic here and the fact that the only Alex Jones didn't risk shit. Like this was all benefit for Alex Jones because he's banned off of YouTube. So just getting a couple of hours to go the fuck off like he did, that's a huge W in his column, right? But like all of the risk is on these guys, I guess. More
and Gary is fully aware of the risks. He wasn't saying, "Yep, this was worth it all. This was worth the risk." I think is something they said once Alex jumped off. So
yeah, and so I mean, look, right now at this point, I just refreshed it. It's got 127,000 views, and that ain't bad.
Is that higher than normal for their streams?
I don't know. I don't watch enough of them. Max would know. Max would know.
I think so.
He would know what they have. So it's like
plus the amount of super chats too.
Yeah, the super chats thing. So obviously at this point, like people have very much like they've very much been alerting YouTube to this. And again, for the record, I'm just laughing at them. And we'll have to wait and see what happens with this thing. It's going to be very interesting in the next week or so. Like it could do nothing. It could be a big thing.
For sure. Sure.
And that's it.
Yeah. No, this weekend will be interesting too, because again, even during the Alex Jones stream after they're talking about the Shang-Chi box office, and then you got all the talk about the second weekend and the Chinese not getting a release. I'm sure I'll talk about another day, but it'll be interesting. The saga will continue to unfold, and I will continue to watch with great interest, even if I just watch on the sidelines and don't comment on it. But it will be interesting to watch.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, it's going to be fun. I'll be honest with you guys. Like this week, we've spent a lot of time talking about them. I'm over it at this point. You know what I mean? Like this is kind of the crescendo of the crescendo. This is like, okay,
we've reached maximum cringe.
Yeah. Like I honestly want to take tomorrow night off, but I'm so tempted to go live again to literally cover the news that happened today.
Because there's a lot.
Yeah, but I might also hold it till Sunday in case nothing else goes on. But in reality, it's just, look, I want to get back to actual movie talk. I just think it's going to be really funny what's going to go on with this stuff. And yeah, so look, if you guys enjoyed it, I really would appreciate it if you guys toss it a like. It's definitely a good way to help the channel out. If you're new here, which I think a lot of you guys are, if you want to help, if you want to subscribe, that's great. And you know what? Just, yeah, we'll be back on probably Sunday night with another stream. I can take tomorrow off to actually get a little bit of rest. I had a flu shot yesterday and that shit fucked me up. Like it fucked me up.
Yeah, I can understand that. Flu shots do mess you up.
Yeah, I'm like, I'll be fine. And then today I'm all like, oh God, I'm so tired. I should go to sleep instead of streaming. But then like I got mad. So here we are at nearly midnight. But all right, everybody, have yourself a great evening. Thank you all again. Have yourself a great night. And I'll talk to you all later.